Oh, guys, sleeping.
Hey,
See?
wake up.
5 more minutes, Mommy.
You've been out since last Halloween.
I've been what? Well, hey there, boys and girls. It's me, MrCreepyPasta. It's Halloween time. Or at least it's getting pretty damn close. 13 more days until Halloween. I have some seriously suspenseful, scream-inspiring stories in my book of creepypastas for you this year. One's guaranteed to keep your heart racing. Or stop it entirely. Kind of like Billy here. So let's get started with tonight's tale of nightmares and things that go bump in the night. From Pathfinder Games and the Sound of Silence. We call this story, I've Been Watching You for a While Now. You learn so much about people when they think they're alone. All those bad habits, weird quirks, and awful perversions that are curtailed by social control by day, and let loose in the lonely comfort of their homes come night. I like to watch. It amuses me to discover the things that people want to hide. Those habits, quirks, and perversions, sure, but most of all, the fears. Oh, that's the good stuff. The very thing I exist for. The eyes may be the windows to the soul, so they say. But a person's deepest, darkest fears are the cold, blunt instrument you can wrench those windows slowly open with, or smash wildly through to peer within. I've been watching you for a while now. It's fascinating to observe the things that set you on edge, and the way in which you react. They're not the rarest of terrors, of course. I've long become used to the common, almost cliché phobias that plague so many people, but after so long playing this game, I've become quite adept at deducing all those little differences and variations that should be imperceptible. Like the contrast between someone who simply guzzles down wine and a discerning connoisseur. Make no mistake, I've gotten very good at this. I notice the way you freeze, and the features of your face contort in disgust when a sizable house spider comes scuttling along the floor. I see the way you cling to the light as you negotiate your apartment, always exchanging one extinguished bulb for a swiftly awoken neighbor. The way you curse nervously under your breath when the ceiling fixture fails on a tentative trip to the bathroom in the middle of the night. I observe your subtle discomfort at stepping into a confined space for any longer than you have to. It would be negligible to your friends, neighbors, and colleagues, but I know the signs. Your pulse quickens as you ride the elevator to the ground floor. A single bead of sweat clings to your brow as you're forced to climb into a bedroom cupboard in search of a lost item, and the door creaks oppressively close to your back. I take in all these things, and gradually, I use them to formulate a plan. Tonight's the night. The first step in our wonderful new relationship. Can you sense me peering eagerly over you as you sleep? You lay there, blissfully unaware of me as I creep into your room, lean over your bed, and begin to construct a nightmare. I'm very much a bespoke practitioner. You wouldn't believe how skilled I've got at this. It all comes together with ease. Within your greater cloud of confused, oblivious sleep, I have you wake to a most uncomfortable scenario. In your dream, you come into consciousness only to realize that all you see is inky black. You're immersed in an indiscernible void, not the faintest trace of light to orient yourself, give notice of your surroundings, or cast illuminations into your puzzled, tired mind. The lack of visual information stuns you into disturbed confusion. You've probably never known darkness quite like this. Free from sunlight, moonlight, lamp or torchlight. Free from the dim glow of a cell phone, the red pinpoint of a TV standby, or the fluttering flame of a romantically lit candle. Maybe you experienced something like this once in an old coal mine. Yes, that's it. I can sense it now as the memory comes flooding back to you when you were 10 or maybe 12. A school trip took you caving deep into the bowels of the earth, and down there, encased by the weeping rock and far from any trace of daylight, they had you all switch off your head-mounted torches and experience genuine dark for the very first time. You lie there confused, contemplating this, as you wonder just what the reason for this current total absence of illumination could be. Naturally, you look to touch to supply you with answers. You shift your clammy hands and move to stretch them out on either side of you, only to find that a cold, hard, coarse, rough surface abruptly halts your efforts. You start to panic now. I grow excited and eager as the expected pattern unfolds. You feel your way awkwardly around the edges of your confinement, to the sides, above, while kicking out your legs reveals somewhat painfully an equally snug fit for the lower half of your body. Only a few inches all around separate you from the borders of a resolute box in which you are held. Your breath begins to tear out in great heaves. I hear a whimper or two, a mutter of denial. Confusion now turns to frantic gibbering, and I haven't even played my best hand yet. There seems no way in or out of the box, but somehow, through some impossible feat, you begin to realize that something is emerging into the tight, cramped space with you. That sense of touch you clung to so desperately before now betrays and horrifies you as you sense the scratchy scruffle of something fast and chaotic rushing past an exposed flash of ankle. More jolts of contact follow, stop-start surges of unsure progress, eager for understanding and frantically sensing out their surroundings just like you. You freeze with dawning realization. Isn't it awful, my darling? The way in which those spindly legs judder and scramble and writhe and probe over your prone, shivering form and against the goose-pimpled landscape of your flesh. I've unleashed a dozen more. They make inevitable progress further and further into the box, scrambling along your heaving chest and throat now and then up to the whimpering summit of your face, one or two convulsing and writhing as they become tangled in the thick bonds of your hair. Oh, what sweet joy this is. Unable to move freely enough to throw them off, you shake your head from side to side, ball your shaking hands into futile fists, and throw some kind of maddening fit as every last ounce of cortisol and adrenaline floods your system, and you become overwhelmed with your natural psychological response. I know the science. I know how it works. Don't despair, my dear. You're now simply undergoing an intense extreme version of the fight or flight response. Unfortunately for you, however, you can do neither. The key thing here is timing, just as a great movie director knows exactly how to hold a shot before they cut, so I know exactly how long to prolong the nightmare before bringing you back to reality. This is going really well, I must say. I leave you for a few more moments to let the absolute terror of your situation sink in. Delirious thoughts dance through your racing mind. I'm going to die here, you say to yourself. Alone and confined and covered in vile things, crying and shaking and begging for salvation in the dark. It all becomes too much. It always does. Finally, you snap. You open your mouth wide to scream, and that's when something bloated, hairy, and spindly-legged comes charging in, desperately seeking sanctuary in your warm, inviting gums. Cut. You awake. With a start. Isn't that how they put it? You instinctively reach your hands to your throat and gag and cough and retch, but there's nothing stopping you from breathing quickly. And within the space of a few tortuously long seconds, you begin to realize you're back in the safety of your bedroom. Your eyes gradually come into focus and you make out the reassuring outlines of your closet, desk, and chest of drawers. It's dark, sure, but practically lit by neon disco lights compared to the pitch-black void you've just come from. There's nothing scuttling over you where you lie. No box pressing you into place and forcing you to stay prone and cramped and bound in position. Quicker than you would think possible, that searing surge of hideous panic, the kind you people get when you suddenly realize you've forgotten something important, subsides to be replaced by a soothing rush of relief. And then calm. You let out a deep whoosh of pent-up breath. You sink back into the covers, place your head upon the pillow and sigh. Just a bad dream, you think to yourself, as your tired thoughts turn back to rest and respite and other trivial things. As is often the case, it isn't long before you've forgotten the details of the nightmare completely. You're not one of those people who keeps a dream diary or has an enhanced awareness of their subconscious playground, and as such, it's mere minutes before the finer points of your ordeal are lost to recollection for good. You had a weird dream, a scary dream. You retain that much, but just what was it that happened? What was it that made you so afraid? You can't for the life of you remember. I always enjoy the forgetting. It means that when I visit you again tomorrow night, and the night after, and the night after that, your fear will once again feel fresh, exhilarating, and brand spanking new. Of course, over time, that will change. With time, over the coming weeks and months, you'll become more and more aware of what's happening. More and more aware of the recurring nightmare that you're living each and every night. Your bedroom sanctuary will begin to seem like a prison. The end of each long day, a march to inevitable doom. You'll dread the previous sweet release of sleep and beg for morning to arrive. for the tedium of everyday monotony to save you from the ongoing onslaught plaguing you every time you seek to rest. But eventually, you'll begin to release that. It's not just sleep where I can get you. And eventually, you'll become more and more aware of me. That's when the real fun starts. That's when I really start to work my magic. I'm looking forward to our time together. Sweet dreams. Oh, hi, everyone. It's me, MrCreepyPasta, and I'm just getting a little bit of practice in with my ventriloquist dummy. Let me know what you think. I think Mr. Creepypasta might believe that he's a ventriloquist. Want to know how I know that? He shoved his hand up my ass and told me to keep quiet. You know what? I hate ventriloquism. This is a stupid idea. Get lost, Billy. That's enough with the deadpan humor. Now on to something a little bit more serious. More real. Tonight's story is another True Stories. Straight from the archive from Goldcoin himself. The murders of Ed Gein. The dictionary describes a serial murder as the unlawful homicide of at least 2 people, carried out in a series over a period of time. Serial murder differs from mass murder, in which several victims are murdered at the same time and place. Criminologists have distinguished between 2 types of serial murder. Classic serial murder, which usually involves stalking and is often sexually motivated, and spree serial murder, which is usually motivated by thrill-seeking. Ed Gein was a serial murderer in both senses. Ed Gein was born on August 27, 1906, in La Crosse, Wisconsin. Ed was the youngest of 2 boys. His older brother Henry was killed in 1943 during a house fire. His father was George Gein, who died of his alcoholism in 1940, leaving Ed to care for his mother, Augusta, alone. They lived in a farm in Plainsville, Wisconsin. Augusta was a demanding, overbearing woman who had full control over her son. From as far back as Ed could remember, Augusta was either delegating farm work for the boys to perform or quoting the gospel. She tried hard to teach Ed about sin, especially about the sins of sex and women. For 2 years he tended to her demands until her death in 1945. Ed, now alone, sealed himself away from the outside world and contained himself in the kitchen and living room of the farmhouse. Ed filled his time fantasizing about the sins his mother warned him about and learned the female anatomy. The more he learned, the more his sexual obsession grew. These twisted fantasies became more so when he learned of the Nazi camps and the experiments and dismemberments done to Jewish prisoners. To fulfill this sick appetite, Gein started robbing graves for body parts. For over 10 years, Ed Gein had robbed so many graves that even he lost count. This included his own mother's grave. The experiments with the corpses became more gruesome and bizarre over time, and included necrophilia and cannibalism. Gein's obsessive fantasies centralized on his desire to turn himself into a woman. He would construct items out of the skin of the bodies that he could then drape on himself, such as female masks and breasts. He even made a complete body-sized female suit made up of flesh of the dead. As growing insanity usually does, Ed believed that the only way to perfect his craft, complete his transformation from male to female, and further his experimentation, was to use living human bodies. In 1957, Gein entered the hardware store owned by Bernice Warden. Gein had been to this same store hundreds of times, and Bernice had no reason to fear him. She likely thought nothing when Gein removed a .22 rifle from the display rack. What she didn't see was Ed inserting his own bullet into the gun, taking aim, and killing Bernice in her own store. Ed stuffed her body into the truck, took the store register, and left. Bernice Warden was Ed Gein's mistake. Her son Frank was a deputy sheriff. He discovered her missing late that night and the unclean blood from the gunshot earlier that day. Frank Warden followed the breadcrumbs to the home of Ed Gein. Ed Gein was located by the police and taken in for questioning at the store near his home. Police then went to Gein's farmhouse in hopes of finding Bernice Warden. In the middle of the night, the search of the Gein farm began. Officer Shelley led the search to the Gein farm shed. Lit by torchlight, he entered the shed to find a scene right out of a horror film. Inside was a woman's naked corpse hanging upside down, the body disemboweled, and the throat and head missing. It was the body of Bernice Warden. In the Gein house, the police officers waded through piles of garbage and an unfathomable amount of junk, with only oil lamps to guide them. As the officers' eyes adjusted, the junk began to take a recognizable form, one that was more horrific than anyone could have ever imagined. In every corner of the room were various body parts, some used as household items, such as skulls made into bowls, jewelry made from human skin, and a chair seat with human skin upholstery. Others included 4 random noses, whole human bones and fragments thereof, 9 masks of human skin, 10 female heads with the tops sawed off, Bernice Warden's head in a burlap sack, 9 vulvas in a shoebox, skulls on his bedpost, organs in the refrigerator, a pair of lips on a drawstring for a window shade, a belt made up of human female nipples, a lampshade made from the skin from a human face. And one of the most shocking items found was that of Bernice Warden's heart, found in a pan on the stove. The 2 murders that Ed Gein could be convicted of was the murder of Bernice Warden in 1957, whose body was found decapitated and disemboweled in the farmhouse, and the murder of Mary Hogan in 1954, whose face was found in a bag in the house. The body parts of 15 different women were found around the Gein farm, along with many others that could not be identified. Ed Gein stated that he could not recall how many people he murdered. He would never admit to his acts of cannibalism, nor necrophilia. Gein was committed to South Penn State Hospital for the duration of his life. At age 78, Gein died of cancer and his remains were buried in Plainsville, Wisconsin. It raises many a question. What would drive Ed Gein to such insanity? Was it the isolation and loss of his family? The doctors of Waupun State believed that it had stemmed from the relationship Ed had with his mother. But the fact remains that Ed Gein, as much as we would love to distance ourselves from him, was human, like you or I. Would that mean that someone like you or I were capable of doing the unspeakable terrors that he did? Only time will tell. Welcome inside the mind of Ellie Bloom. In a few moments, Ellie is going to die. But don't be too upset. She's 92. And she's had a long and happy life. Also, she doesn't actually exist. How's that, you say? It's true. Ellie is a thought experiment. We're creating her to illustrate an idea. She doesn't have to be old, female, or name Ellie. She could be your nephew, your cousin, or just a friend. For this experiment, all we need is someone you might know. So let's use Ellie. We'll say she's 92. And she's your granddaughter. Granddaughter, you say? Just play along. And be respectful. We're in the mind of your dying granddaughter, after all. Yes. Here it comes. See the wall of darkness rushing towards us? That's death. Ellie's brain is shutting down. The lights are all going out. Everything she ever was, everything she's ever known, cell by cell and memory by memory, it's going dark. Don't worry, though. This isn't the end for Ellie. It's true what they say. As long as someone holds you in their memory, you'll live on. Ellie has loving grandchildren to remember her. So why are you here? Actually, this is your time to go. Do you see? Ellie was the last person alive who actually knew you. The last person with memories of you as a living, breathing human being. From now on, you can only be a stranger to people, if they think of you at all. This is the moment you pass from living memory into history. This is the moment you truly die. Whoops. There go the lights. Goodbye, Ellie. Goodbye, you. Yeah, come on, shoot it, shoot. Headshot. Yeah, come on, come on. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Good. Oh. Borderlands, the pre-sequel, why do you do this to me? You're a terrible co-op partner, Billy. Stupid psycho class is the only reason I lost. You have failed me for the last time. Oh, nice seeing you here again, sir. Would you like to play a game? Well, looks like I've got something to take care of on my side, so on your side, why don't you enjoy tonight's story? It's a lovely story that I like to call Stop. Stop. I said stop. That's you, yes. Listener, I want you to stop. I want you to stop moving. I want you to stop breathing. See how long you can hold your breath. Are you doing it? Are you holding your breath? Can you feel the nagging feeling calling on you to open your mouth and inhale? Can you resist it? Do you see how unnatural it is? Breathing is what keeps you inside this world. It is something your body does without thought, without command. You have to tell yourself not to do it. Almost every other action occurs at your command. Breathing occurs at the lack of your command. You have to force yourself to stop doing it. And it gets more and more difficult to do. Your entire body screams at you to open your mouth and inhale. Your own mind reminds you again and again that you must breathe. It pulls you like gravity down again and again until you can't think of anything else, can't do anything else, until you take a breath. Your body and your own mind wants you to. It wants you to suck in the air that keeps you where your mind and body wants you to be, where you think you should be. Can you resist them? What if they're wrong? That's what it feels like. Feel an itch? Don't scratch it. It's an odd thing, isn't it? Here is a function of your body to tell you where there is something wrong. He'll warn you when something is happening to your skin. It will tell you when there are insects crawling all over you, climbing over your flesh, into your ears and mouth, and burrowing into your skin. It will tell you when they lay eggs inside of you, or when their young form a boil, which will burst forth with maggots climbing out to feast on your flesh. It will tell you when your skin is infested with holes and bumps forming over your body as you rot alive. And yet it is still so easily deceived. Most of the time it's nothing. Can you be certain that it'll work when you need it? To give you the warning you need? What if your skin is numb? What if the insect infests you so that you can't feel it? What if your eyes then deceive you as part of the insect's poison, so that you can't see it, and it will continue inside of you? What if it's happening right now? Feel the itch yet? Such a fickle thing, isn't it? All I have to do is mention it, and chances are you feel it. It's in your mind now. I bet it's nagging at you now, demanding your attention. Though you know there is nothing there. It is almost impossible to resist its call, even if you know it is almost guaranteed that there is nothing. That the odds against it being an insect in your skin are 1,000 to 1, 1,000,000 to 1, or 1,000,000,000 to 1. Your body still demands you to do it to be sure. It's always better to be sure. That's what it feels like. Can you resist it? If not, I can't blame you. Then again, it means you can't blame me for what I did either. Still holding your breath? Did you manage to resist the urge for that long? If you didn't, I can't blame you. You gave in to the constant nagging feeling that you must do something. But if that's so, then you can't blame me for what I did either, or for what they said I did. If you're still holding your breath, let me ask you this. Are you conscious? Are you sure? If you were unconscious, would you know it? You may very well have passed out from a lack of air. Your mind would shut you down. But it wouldn't let you know you've shut down. It would tell you that you were awake. It would make you dream, show you images, and play you sounds that you can't tell from reality. Drowning men think that they're on land. Unconscious boxers think they're still fighting. Men spend years in comas, their mind telling them that they're in another place, in another time. And they have no way to tell the difference. The same goes for madmen, or what we so arrogantly call madmen. They see the world in a completely different way, but have no idea that they do. To them, reality is simply different, and we are the ones who are wrong. Nothing can tell them otherwise. Even if you can trick them into having moments of clarity with pills or by talking to them, they will simply dismiss it as something fooling them. Reality is their dream. Dreams are their reality. So let me ask again, are you conscious? If you're certain the answer is yes, then let me ask you something else. Are you a god? An all-knowing being capable of being certain of the entire universe? Or are you a liar? If you're a liar, who are you lying to? Me? Or yourself? Are you alive? Same question as before. You may breathe now, if you haven't already. If you're listening to this, it means that it exists in whichever world your mind tells you that you're in. If you suffocate your mind, this may no longer be true. Before it happened, I had a room to myself in an old apartment building. Everything was perfect. The walls were painted in a solid dark blue color. There was one window kept constantly shut, and with the blinds closed. There were no paintings on the walls. They would only clutter it. To the immediate right of the door was a perfectly clean small fridge, sink, and stove that served as my kitchen. All the food was arrayed in perfect lines in their proper place, so I always knew where they were. To the immediate right of the door was a perfectly straight line of shoes in front of a closet where my clothes were hung in perfectly proper order. There was a narrow bed in the far left corner, always properly made. There was a nightstand with a dim lamp beside it, the only light I needed. In the right corner was a door that led to a simple, functional bathroom. Everything was perfectly organized, perfectly placed, and perfectly straight in its right place. It was everything I needed. Every night I would make sure it was perfect. I'd check the fridge, seeing everything in its proper place. I'd touch everything inside to see if I could feel them. Then I'd close my eyes and do the same in case my eyes were lying and my hands believed them. I'd check my clothes and my shoes lined up perfectly in the closet. Again, I'd see them, then touch them, then repeat the process with my eyes closed. If I could ensure they were always in the exact right place, in the perfect straight lines each time, I could be certain they were there. I'd check everything the same way. My TV stand, my bathroom, my bed, the lock on my door must always be locked and the window must always be shut so that nothing could come in to disturb the perfection of my room. I'd finish by going around the room, tapping on all the walls. Tap, tap, tap. I'd make sure that my hands and ears always agreed with my eyes. My hands must always stop where my eyes said the wall was. My ears must always hear the sound. Then I'd do the same thing again with my eyes closed. I'd turn off the light and turn it on again, lest it lit up a different room than the one I was in before. I'd check everything again, and if they were all the same, I could sleep. After this, I couldn't touch anything but the bed. If I turned on the light, it may create a different room, and I'd have to check it again. If I knocked something over, it may not land where it was supposed to. I would have to check to see if that was where my eyes told me it was. If I kept going, I could never stop. There were times when I would spend days on end going over everything again and again and again and again and again. Each time something new would happen, something would change, and I'd have to start all over again. Some people told me I had a problem. They took me to see a doctor, and he tried to get me to stop. But how could I? It was like breathing. I didn't do it because I wanted to. I did it because I had to. If I didn't think of it, my body would do it on its own. I'd have to order it not to. If I tried to order it to stop, then the feeling would grow inside until I simply had to do it. Nothing else could get done. I couldn't eat, I couldn't sleep, I couldn't even breathe unless I knew that the room was real. Or it was like an itch. It was nagging at me, telling me something was wrong. I may be almost certain that the room was there, but could I ever be completely certain? Even if it was 1,000,000,000 to 1 that the room existed, did it not make sense to check just one more time to make it 1,000,001 to 1? Does not the horror of having been deceived by your own senses outweigh the moments it takes to tap on the wall? So you see, I had no choice but to continue doing it. As you now have no choice but to breathe, or to feel an itch. If I could check, then I could be that much more sure that everything was there and I could rest. Everything was perfect. Everything was in its right place. But then it came in. It had to come to wreck my perfect existence. It began with a noise. It came down the hall one day to the room beside mine. It let out ceaseless, high-pitched, whining sounds. It sounded like a broken trumpet. Some fool still tried to play, thinking he was making music. The sound was awful. Grating, burning into my ears and wrecking my concentration. How could I properly survey my room with that unending drone? It was disgusting. It was a massive, soft thing that moved slowly and in swaying fashion. It had brown moss-like masses of hair growing around its head that hung down its body in a mangled mess. It was covered with spots and constantly stunk of sweat. What's more is that it mocked me. It disagreed with my ways and tried to change my reality when I wasn't looking. It would come into my room to move things. It would take them out of order. It would put them in the wrong place. It claimed that it didn't touch them, but I knew it was lying. It would laugh in that same high-pitched, whining voice, laugh at my efforts to restore the room as it should be, as it must be. Then it would change them again, and laugh at me again, as if I was in the wrong, as if I was the one who was a fool. It didn't understand what I was doing, that I had to check everything to be sure, and what it didn't understand, it hated. I would try to force it out, but it was bigger than me, and I couldn't budge it. Finally, it would leave. And I would lock the door, checking again and again to ensure that it was locked. No fewer than 50 times would I turn that lock to make sure that that thing wouldn't come in again. But somehow it always did. But the horror didn't stop there. Even when it was outside my room, I could still influence it. I tried to sleep. I checked all the things in my room, all the clothes, all the food, all the furniture, the lock, the window, my bed, all the walls, and everything else, and went to sleep. But then it started again with its noise. The same droning, whining, irritating sound that was constantly emitted from it came into my room. That noise it used to mock me, to laugh at me, as it ruined everything I did. It woke me up, and I knew that it had changed something. But what was more was that it was too close. I knew how big my room was. I knew how big its room was. There was no way that the sound could be coming from where I heard it. Something was wrong. I checked everything again, going over everything twice, 4 times, 5 times. Everything was there, and I slept again. Then the sound came again. I checked over 12 times. Everything was there, and I slept Again it came, and again I checked everything 30 times, and something changed. I went around the room, tapping the walls. Tap, tap, tap. I hit every wall where I should have, where my eyes told me they were. Then to check again, I closed my eyes and reached forward. And hit nothing. My hand went straight through where the wall should have been, where my eyes had told me it was. I opened my eyes, reaching out again, and hit the wall. I closed them, reached out, and hit nothing. I stood staring for what seemed like hours. I tried to understand what had just happened. In 100 million trials, never had my eyes and my hands disagreed with each other. But now, on the 100 millionth trial, they were wrong. Even a 1 in a million chance will occur eventually, and I had hit that number. The wall was there and it wasn't. Eyes open, it was there. Eyes closed, it wasn't. But the sound. The sound was right behind the wall when my eyes were open. It was too close. It didn't make sense with what my eyes told me. When my eyes were closed, the wall wasn't there. The sound made sense. Perhaps this was how it entered my room. So the sound existed. But it was changing my reality. It was interfering with my room and forced me to check everything again and again and again and again. I closed my eyes and reached through the wall. Or more, I reached through where I had once thought the wall to be. I found the source of the noise behind where the wall used to be, if it had ever existed. I had found it, the thing that produced the relentless, irritating sound that forced me to check everything again and again, that mocked my efforts. I had to stop the noise. I couldn't not stop it. Even if I resisted, my body kept commanding that I do so, and I gave in, like you gave in the need to breathe or to itch. I gave in to the need to stop the noise. I grabbed hold of the source of the noise. It was soft, and I realized I could easily break it, stop it from producing that irritating whine. I squeezed it, trying to shut it off. It struggled against me, but it was futile. Its reality wasn't my reality. I had control over my own world. In my reality, I was all-powerful. It could not resist me. I squeezed with all my might. I squeezed and squeezed until I heard a crack. And soon, the noise stopped and left me in peace. I backed away and I opened my eyes, restoring the wall to where it was before. I went to sleep, finally able to rest safely, knowing the truth of my existence. This is when the other world ceased to be. That fake world, that lie that my eyes told me was no longer there. I no longer needed to check everything, to tap things to see if they were real. I knew that they weren't. I had found the truth. The old world stopped. The old time stopped. And now that the old world is gone, now that it has stopped, now because its time no longer affected me, I am in the real world. I am no longer deceived. Now I am out of my room. Now I am gone. Now I am in the real world. Now I do as I please. Change what I want. And do not have to worry over the reality of my own existence. Every so often, I'm forced out of my world. People force me back to then, back to the old time, to the old fake world. They give me pills which deceive my senses. They talk to me and tell me things that are lies. And then I'm in their world again, with their time, their lies. A fake world where I once lived in my own room. Then in a room they put me in with padded walls and chains, in that time where I was called a madman, a criminal. But how could I be a criminal? I never really existed anyway. It was probably a figment of my imagination that I chose to end. And when they would force me into that world, I would be deceived only for a moment. And all I would need to do is shut my eyes and reach toward the wall. When I feel nothing, I knew for certain the wall is not there. I could return to my own reality. Here, I know that the world they want me to be in does not exist. They are insane and forced me to take pills, which made me insane as well. The pills deceived my eyes for a moment. But I'm too strong for them. It's no matter. The last time they forced me into that fake world, I ended their ability to do so. They tried to make me eat their own food, which was filled with the same poisons and diseases that was tricking my senses into seeing this fake world. When they weren't looking, I took a knife. I jammed it into my eyes, those lying orbs that tried to deceive me into thinking that my world was fake and theirs was real. I took the hot iron that they used to cook their fake foods and shoved it into my ears so that I could no longer hear their lies. They tried to stop me, but I was too powerful. They lived in their world and in their time, and I live in mine. And now I no longer have to worry about that world. I live only in my own. My eyes can no longer deceive me, my ears can no longer hear lies. They're there to deceive me, but I know better. I know what's real and what is not. I know what is true. I know what is real. And my world is real. Let's talk about YouTube. The site was founded in February of 2005 by 3 former PayPal employees by the names of Stephen Chen, Chad Hurley, and Jawed Kareem, who were inspired to create a user-friendly and intuitive video file sharing site when they were having difficulty sharing a video of a dinner party at Chen's apartment. The first video to ever be uploaded to the site was put up on April 23rd, 2005, at 8:27 p.m. under the name Me at the Zoo. It is 19 seconds long and features Kareem talking about the elephant display at the local zoo. As of the writing of this text, it has over 8,700,000 views. In May 2005, YouTube opened up for public beta testing. And 6 months later, in November 2005, YouTube officially launched. From its first public beta to its official launch to now, YouTube has found itself hosting billions of videos, with hundreds of thousands being uploaded each day. It has grown into the single most popular video sharing site ever, and is among the top 5 most popular websites on the entire internet. Most of the videos people watch on YouTube have showed up on the front pages of the site with at least a couple 100,000 views or more. Most of the videos you personally have watched probably have anywhere between 500 and 1,000 views. Rarely does anyone find themselves lurking around in the darker, more obscure corners of YouTube, crawling with the videos that have less than a dozen views, but of course, that place exists. Not every video amongst those billions is going to get much attention. And I've always thought there's something special about being a part of a view count that you can number on one hand. You watch a video with like 5 views, and you're among a select few that have ever witnessed whatever was filmed. Unfortunately, it's more often than not something very stupid and not worth watching, which accounts for the low views. Nowadays, the site is very heavily moderated, and not even the most obscure video can pop up with nudity in it without being deleted immediately. But how about we wind the clock back 7 years? On November 21st, 2005, not long after YouTube's official launch, a particular YouTube account was opened under the rather unspectacular name of Dennis100. 3 days later, on Thanksgiving, Dennis100's first video was uploaded with the name Talking Turkey. The video, recorded on a low-quality camcorder, featured a family sitting at a kitchen table picking apart a cooked turkey and eating it. It appears to be a recording of an average Thanksgiving meal, except all the audio in the recording is replaced with a man loudly screaming in an attempt to appear as though the turkey is screaming in pain as the family eats it. Near the end of the recording, the camera turns towards the small, prepubescent girl sitting at the table and zooms in on her face. The video fades to black shortly after the girl begins to cough violently and then appears to start gagging. Throughout the entire video, a small pink watermark lingers in the corner reading www.skippersbin.com. The description of the video was merely for Skipper. The video itself received less than 10 views and no comments. Despite its appearance in the video's watermark, no domain has ever been registered under the name Skipper's Bin. One day later, another video was uploaded to the account named Talking Turkey Behind the Scenes, with poor spelling and grammatical mistakes. The video is shakily filmed with another cheap camcorder, shot from behind the one that filmed the first video, which is mounted on a tripod. In the video, you can see two Caucasian individuals standing behind the tripod-mounted camera, dressed in jeans and dirty plain white t-shirts. What is particularly strange, though, is that one is wearing a rubber gorilla mask. The other is wearing a plastic cartoonish Dracula mask. Both persons are watching the family eat the turkey and softly laughing to themselves. The video films the entire length of the first, with the man behind the Dracula mask grabbing the tripod-mounted camera and panning it over to the little girl. Just as the small girl begins to cough and gag, the cameraman lifts the bottle of soap into the shot. Just as the small girl begins to cough and gag, the cameraman lifts a bottle of soap into the shot. He then lunges the bottle at the father, who falls over after the impact. While the rest of the family offers no reaction besides simultaneously gagging like the little girl, the three men behind the camera begin laughing hysterically before the video abruptly cuts to black for about 3 seconds, and then ends. Just like the first video, and every video uploaded to the account, this one shares the same Skipper's Bin watermark, and an identical description, as well as a similarly low view count. Unlike the Talking Turkey video, though, this video received one comment from the username Bogbox, reading, "LOL, good times." Further investigation reveals that the Bogbox account was created one day after Dennis100, and it had uploaded a single video entitled "Open Up Skipper's Bin," which was nothing more than 20 seconds of black text on a pink background displaying the same non-existent URL, as shown in Dennis100's 2 videos. Dennis100 did not upload any further videos until December 12th, at which point a new video with the title "Everybody's a Critic." In the video, a middle-aged, balding man in a stained wife beater is seen hopping up and down rhythmically in a dimly lit garage. The camera is zoomed in very close to the man, and despite the low visual quality, the viewer can see the man is very badly bruised on his face and has several scars across his forehead. The sound of glass shattering can be heard from below, and around a minute into the video, the camera zooms out, revealing the 2 men in the gorilla and Dracula masks from the previous video pulling glass bottles out of a crate sitting beside them and throwing them at the man's bare feet, causing him to dance. Throughout the first minute and 30 seconds of the video, generic disco music is playing over the audio as you watch the man dance pathetically on shards of broken glass with blood smearing on the floor. Then the video abruptly cuts out, and a third man walks into frame wearing a brown paper bag on his head. with 2 makeshift eye holes cut out and a smile haphazardly scribbled onto it with black marker. The paper bag man begins to scream into the ear of the dancing man, shouting expletives and insults at the man as well as harshly criticizing his dancing. Throughout the shouting, the dancing man begins to cry. The paper bag man then turns to the camera and shouts, "Can you believe this?" and points his thumb at the dancing man, who does a sort of ballerina twirl and collapses onto the floor. Then the video fades to black. What's interesting about this particular video is that, being the first time that any of the men talk, one can detect a very vague and indistinct Eastern European accent from the bagman. 10 days later, on December 22nd, Dennis100 uploaded a 4th video entitled "Having Too Much Fun," which is filmed from within a child's bedroom. The camera is set down on a dresser and is filming the paper bag man jumping up and down on a bed. Off to the side, barely visible in frame, the gorilla man is ramming a crippled teenage boy in a wheelchair over and over again into the wall. The kid is crying while this happens, and the gorilla man is laughing loudly and continuously getting rougher and more vicious each time he does it. While the Dracula man does not appear in this video, off in another room you can vaguely hear feminine screaming and sobbing. This goes on for another 2 minutes, before the sobbing in the other room stops, and a loud thud is heard. At this point, both the gorilla man and the paper bag man stop what they're doing, and the paper bag man yells out, "Are you done in there?" which is replied with a muffled, "Yeah." The paper bag man then hops off the bed and grabs the camera, and the video ends as someone off camera mutters, "That was quick." The video received another comment from Bogbox reading, "Best night ever. Thank you, Skipper." Another month of inactivity went by before Dennis100 uploaded his 5th and final video on July 14th, 2006. This one, titled "Bad Luck Lewis," shows a dazed man sitting at a small plastic table in the middle of what appears to be the corner of a much larger warehouse. A man behind the camera asks what his name is, and he mumbles a response in a tired tone. Lewis. He is then asked a few more questions which, along with their answers, are incomprehensible and cannot be heard over the sound of Dracula Man walking into frame with a tape recorder that is continuously playing a voice that repeats, 7 years, bad luck, over and over again. The interview between the cameraman and Lewis goes on under the loud recording that the Dracula Man is playing for about 5 minutes. During the entire length of the interview, Lewis appears to occasionally drift off to sleep. After the 5-minute mark, the gorilla man quickly runs into frame and smashes a mirror over Lewis's head as he collapses immediately onto the table. The Dracula man then grabs the shards of broken mirror and begins frantically stabbing himself in the stomach and screaming 7 years bad luck, while the gorilla man and paper bag man laugh hysterically. The video then abruptly ends about 10 seconds later. That was Dennis100's last video. All of his 5 uploaded videos never got over 15 views. His account along with Bogbox's have both since been deleted, and the videos lost. The website skippersbin.com neither then nor now has ever existed. And who Skipper is, I don't know. I can't claim to be capable of leaving you with any more knowledge about these videos than when you began listening. If you wanted to see them, I'm sure you could find and download one of them from deep in the bowels of some obscure file-sharing site, but I doubt that you'll ever want to find them. If you'd like to know the point of this story, there really isn't much of one. I just thought that I'd inform you of what's been happening in the darker, more obscure corners of YouTube. Crawling with the videos that have less than a dozen views.
return to MrCreepyPasta Storytime in just a moment.
The smooth, refreshing taste of Diet Dr. Pepsi. Diet Dr. Pepsi. Your wife left you because your pee-pee is on the fritz.
We now return to MrCreepyPasta Storytime with tonight's story, The Ice Diaries.
Day 1. Trapped. I don't know what I'm trapped in, I just woke up today like this. No way out. Didn't check the whole fucking thing because whatever I'm in never ends. Walls are white and freezing, air's not cold though. Icicles on the ceiling. The ceiling's only 7 feet high. Can reach it on my tiptoes, banged on it for a good 5 minutes before giving up. Fuck. I have no food, and I can't tell if it's light or dark outside because this isn't the real world. No doors. If they are, they're camouflaged. No way to tell how far this white room extends. I've walked for 2 hours today. No end in sight. Thirsty already. Scraped some ice off the walls and only got enough to wet my lips. Going to sleep. Don't know why this paper's with me at all, but I'll keep a diary. Keep myself sane and alive. Day 2. Don't even know if this is the second day at all. Woke up. There was a box on the ground. Opened the box. Inside was a pair of gloves. A winter coat that fit just right. And earmuffs. Air's gotten gradually colder. What the fuck is doing this? What the fuck is going on? Also in the box, ice water. Makes my throat freeze but feels amazing, not thirsty anymore. Hunger is growing though. I searched for an entrance today, still none. How the fuck did I get in? Whatever, doesn't matter. Getting colder. Going to walk down further. I'll update with what I find. Day 2, Part 2. I found the ending wall. Nothing there, just more white. Sleeping. Good night, day, afternoon. All this artificial light is driving me batshit. Fucking hell. Day 3, they got in again. More boxes, much more. One has food, all frozen. Can tell that air is getting colder. I found something this morning though, a thermostat. Can't make it warmer. It's locked. It says the temperature is 42. The meat in the box won't stay frozen for long. I was so hungry I ate raw chicken this morning. More water in the second box. The boxes have a label. It says KG Enterprises on the side. Might be a clue. No way to tell. I've been using empty boxes as toilets. The last box had toilet paper in it. Someone must be watching. Always watching. Artificial lights still drive me batshit. One box was empty, the other had another pen in it. Mine was starting to run out. They can tell how much ink I have left in my pen. I've decided to stay awake tonight to try and catch whoever comes in. We'll update journal later. Day 4. Stayed up all night, or what I think is night. No one came. Passed out after an unknown amount of time. I woke up and there was no boxes, just a note left on the thermostat. Must have come when I passed out. Note said, do not wait for us. Misbehave more and thermostat will go down. Read 36. I had slept long enough on the floor that my ass was freezing. Ran out of water bottles and food, going to have to wait for more boxes. Wrote a message on one of the boxes. It says, please bring more pants and food. Thank you. I was trying to catch them again. We'll post more tomorrow. Day 5, much colder. 24 degrees on thermostat, no new boxes. Starve. I'm thirsty. I've been yelling at them, pleading with them all day, nothing. 8 cardboard. Not good. Bad. Bad light. It's going insane. Fuck this bullshit. Get me out! Ass is numb, feet are soaked and freezing. Frostbite. Oh god, frostbite. Falling asleep. Note on thermostat says, ask us nothing. The king will provide. Notice the spelling mistakes. Who's writing? Who? Bad people. Going to sleep. Artificial light. Bad light. It's driving me insane. Day 6. Better now. Woke up to more boxes. So many more boxes. Around 12. One had new pants, new wool socks. One had water. The other had a thermos filled with coffee. Oh, coffee tastes good. They know what I need, and they provide, but they're bad. They're bad, bad, bad. Thermostat's still low, though. Also obtained a blanket. Who's king, though? Don't know. Try to find out. They even put a guitar in one of the boxes. Tried it. Horribly out of tune. Tuning it as I write this down. I feel better. Going to try and get out. Must bide time because king is watching. Who is king? Do not know. We'll update soon. Good day, night, afternoon. Damn bad lights. Day 7. New boxes. Only food and water. Thermostat still consistent. New note pinned to thermostat. Are you ready? Respond if you are. I don't know what it means, but I'm curious. Responded with yes. The icicles are growing longer on the ceiling. One big one can almost touch the ground. Guitar's tuned. Played Moonlight Sonata today while eating some frozen bread. The artificial light is still horrible. Day 8. Woke up to many new boxes, around 50. Didn't have a chance to go through each one yet, but it seems like they're giving me items in bulk. Sweaters, food, socks, and even shaving cream and razors. They're crazy, though. A workshop was set up. Huge pieces of lumber and a saw and hammers and nails. Crude floor plans to build a house with a note that says, King will monitor progress. Who's king? Might as well build a house. Have all materials will keep me warm. There's even insulation. Maybe it will keep the bad lights out. Day 9. King wasn't pleased with progress made yesterday. Much golder, almost -1. Worked all day, no time to write, only time to sleep. Good night, day. Afternoon. We'll work harder tomorrow, King, I promise. Day 11. No update yesterday. Worked all day, built the house, finished it, passed out. Woke up, and it was completely furnished with wallpaper, a bed, a kitchen, lights, working bathrooms, etc. King has provided indeed, but who is he? I don't know. I can turn lights out now. Mostly black, no bad light. No heat inside though, still freezing. Everything's freezing. bringing boxes inside to store up, noticing some of them disappeared gradually. Guitar tune played Moonlight Sonata today again. I hope those who are watching me are pleased. Bed is comfortable. I will escape sometime. Good night, afternoon, or morning. Day 12! Another person! Another person! Another person! Says name is Jamie, doesn't remember how she got in here like me. Got coat out of boxes. Let her sleep in bed. I sleep on floor. Asked her about King. Doesn't know. Still upset and confused, letting her sleep and figure things out. I found her next to the thermostat under another message from King. It said, King has provided. She must build. I guess she's gonna have to build a house too. Played guitar for her earlier, tried to calm her down. Played Moonlight Sonata, getting really good at it. Tomorrow I will help her build. Good night, afternoon, or morning. Day 13, we built the house together and started another one. Much easier than last time. King wants us to build another 3 houses. Does that mean 3 more people? We don't know. But Jamie's nice. I like her. She's a hard worker, and she wants to get out like I do. I'll protect her, I swear. More boxes, lots more. I expect more people to come, teaching Jamie guitar chords. Much better when she's around. Day 14, we finished 2 more houses today. The ones we finished yesterday are furnished just like mine. Jamie has her own like mine. We moved stuff around in it today. Jamie said she used to live in New England. That's all she remembers, and I lived in California so far. No new information from King, but a few more boxes with red wine and donuts. I drank the red wine with Jamie, and we told funny stories. The thermostat. It was a little warmer. It's at 5 degrees. When will new people come? I will protect her, I swear. Day 15. 2 new people. Me and Jamie both put them in beds. They were both still passed out. Put boxes of new clothes in their homes as well. They're still not awake. No messages from King. The 2 people are a man and a female. The man is tall and has black hair. The woman is short and has blonde hair. Jamie thinks the King is kidnapping people. I think the King is helping people, and another force outside of King is kidnapping them. What or who is the King? Is this even the same reality we once knew? It hurts to think about. Thermostat went up 5 degrees. Very good day. Good night, afternoon, or morning. Day 16. Girl's name is Carla, boy's name is Mark. Mark's quiet and doesn't remember anything. Carla's very loud, scared and confused. Screamed a lot, but after an hour or 2, she calmed down and agreed to help us work. Building more houses. Easier with all of us. Tried to talk to Mark, but he was kind of reserved. More boxes, and a piano showed up. A fucking piano! Put it in Carla's house, as she used to play it. Carla remembers having a dream where she was lifted into the air by something outside our window and floating into the sky. Are we being held captive by aliens? No one else thinks so, but no one has any good ideas. Almost finished with 3 houses. Carla's okay worker. Mark's great. No messages from King. Jamie's getting good at playing the guitar. Good night, morning, or afternoon. Day 16. We built a lot more today. We have a total of 6 new houses. New message from King says, more are coming. We are all excited. Mark is opening up. He particularly likes Jamie. Carla's nice enough, but she's not very useful. She plays the Moonlight Sonata well, too. We play it together sometimes. No more boxes. Plenty to eat and drink, though. All the houses now have toilets, thank God, but no showers. Haven't taken a shower in weeks. But I can't smell myself under all the coats. Doesn't matter. Had an odd dream last night. I was laying in bed and saw a bright light. I'm scared to dream. Woke up shivering. I like the fact that I can make it be night when I want it to be. I'll protect Jamie, and I will escape. Good night, afternoon or morning. Day 17, more people, all asleep again. One of them is obviously pregnant. One of them is a teenager, probably 14, and the two others are both men. I'm scared for the pregnant girl. We have no hospitals or medicine, and I don't know how to stop bleeding or even put on an ace bandage. I was thinking that we needed medical supplies. King will provide, though. I asked Jamie about the dream. She had it too, and so did Mark. Carla didn't. All three of us are scared of it. What does it mean? A little colder. Thermostat says 23. I don't remember what it was last time. We'll write more about new people tomorrow. A good night, afternoon, or day. Day 18. New people are all nice, adjusted well. I like the teenager a lot. His name is Greg. Greg still remembers some of his past. Doesn't remember how he got here, though, or when he came. He can remember his mom and dad, hasn't talked about mom or dad much. But still, he misses them. Two men are hard workers, likable. One is big and burly, Jim. He remembers that he used to be a truck driver. The other guy, Kyle, remembers his old wife. We all worked except for the pregnant girl. She's sick. Great. A pregnant woman who's also sick. New boxes still, and one of them contains plans for a hospital. No idea how the fuck we're gonna build a hospital. It's the same plans for a house with a different label. What the fuck? Icicles melting, getting warmer. Plenty of food. Turns out Kyle plays piano too. Jamie's doing good. We'll protect her. Good night, day or morning. Day 19. Exhausted. Finished hospital, took forever. I'm not going to write much, need sleep. New boxes with medical supplies and syringes. Falling asleep next to Jamie. I love her. She loves me now. Happy but exhausted. We'll update soon. Good night, day or evening. Day 20, or actually 21 since there was two 16s. We now have a fully functional hospital, thanks to the king who provided like he never has before. Beds, IVs, equipment that we don't even know how to work. That is the problem, none of us are doctors. Not much to do today, quiet day. Jamie and I made love last night, and it looks like Carla and Kyle are interested in each other, and have been flirting all day. Turns out, each of us can play an instrument, although the only thing we can play is Moonlight Sonata. All the new people can never remember learning an instrument before coming here. That's odd. The warmer. Thermostat says 40. Our meal is melting, though, and we need that to survive. Got some ice, put it in a box, in an attempt to keep some meat cold for the future. For now, though, we have plenty of food. Greg played an impromptu game of Mad Libs with us. I feel attached to Greg in a fatherly sort of way. I want to protect him like I protect Jamie. We'll write later. Good night, day or afternoon. Day 22. Note the change because there was two 16s. Busy all day. Built 5 more houses. Me and Jamie are acting like leaders. I think Kyle resents that. He's being a little rude, giving me a little nasty glare. Rubbing off on Carla too. Greg discovered a new note today from the king. It says, "Johnny is your leader." Neither Kyle or Carla liked that too much. Pregnant girl's fine. Jim's cool. He was very excited about the box of beer. Built an entire house by himself today. Consumes a lot of food. Temperature went down to 33. Not worried about food anymore. It's cold, but not very.
easily dealt with. Mark is becoming my best friend. He remembers a lot about where he lived. He lived in Nevada. He worked at a casino. He was married twice. And can picture his kids. Told him about dreams and about how King was always watching. Says he had the dream too. And that he wants to escape. Agreed. Told him to bide time. We'll post more later. We built 4 new houses today. Productive day all around. Good night, good morning, or afternoon. Day 23, new people today, 3 of them, still asleep. One of them is a doctor, still wearing his white lab coat and a name tag. Ronald Philpott, it says. Western Maine Pediatrics. Maybe he'll know how to deliver a baby. Found something really weird today. Hanging up on a bedroom wall, it's a picture. I didn't put it there, and the only thing it has in the corner is a signature. Roth. Is Roth the king? Who is Roth? Who is the lady in the picture? Is she the king? More questions than answers. It haunted me all through work today. No idea who it is or what the picture is. Everyone else is stumped as well. Maybe new people will have some answers for us. Jamie thinks the painting is creepy. I think it's beautiful. We'll write more tomorrow. Good night, afternoon, or morning. Day 24. During building today, all I could think about was the painting. Decided to call her Miranda. Jamie wants to take it down. I told her that the king would get mad. Excuse. Miranda is beautiful. And no one else thinks so. Jamie doesn't know that I think Miranda is prettier than her. I hide it well, I guess. We don't know who Roth is or who the king is either. New people are fine and are all fitting in well. I care more about Miranda now, though. She's beautiful, after all. Day 25. The new people are fine, and they remember all of their memories up to the point that they were kidnapped. I don't know the doctor as well, but I like the 2 guys that were with him. They both work hard. One of them is about Greg's age. They get along good. New boxes. They contain baseballs and soccer balls. We have a nice little society going. Jamie is doing good. I love her, and she's beautiful, and I am in love. Miranda. No, I won't talk about her. I'll forget about her, and she doesn't matter. I will stay sane. I am a leader. These people are depending on me. The king has provided us well, and the temperature has stayed the same. The new guy can play the Moonlight Sonata as well, and says he used to play it in high school. I know what the word high school means, and what it is, but I can't... I can't picture ever being in one. The same way I can't picture being in a police station, or a public bus. I will stay sane. Good night, afternoon, or morning. I love Jamie. Miranda's evil. King put these thoughts in my head. King is bad. Bad, bad. Trying to tell me to I must stay sane. The evil that's brought forth. King, why do you do this? Temperature's way down. Though the king is evil that has been brought forth, all of us are freezing. -30. Bed sheets freezing over. Pregnant lady died last night. Mark blames it on me. I am alone. No one thinks I am good enough to lead them, so cold. Woke up this morning, 39 boxes gone. What is happening to me? No, I'm dying. Greg can't be dead. Greg can't be dead. No, my son is dead. It's been a week of freezing because week of cold. woke up this morning. Bed empty. Jamie's gone. Mark found a gun in a box. Jamie loves Mark now. I couldn't protect her. I'm leaving. I fucked this up big time. Going somewhere else. I'm going to start my own town with Miranda, because the king will provide, and the king is Miranda, and the king is everything. I can't believe all those people, Greg died. They were fools to have trusted me. Leaving now. We'll write later with pocketfuls of food. I'll start again. Day 32. It doesn't even matter anymore because the past is behind me. I walked for 2 hours yesterday, and the bad light was getting to me, so I fell asleep. I had some water in my pockets, so I kept walking. Today, I came upon a box with some food and a sleeping bag, and I'm starting to hear a faint hum in the air like some kind of static. I'm not going back to a place that doesn't want me anymore. It's warmer where I'm going anyway. Sometimes I miss them, but I have Miranda. She's humming too. Everything is humming, high-pitched. Even the walls are humming silent. Ice, white and humming. I'm falling asleep. Get away from it. Good night, morning or afternoon. Day 33, my eyes started to bleed today, and the silence has grown louder. I drew pictures with my blood. The king will provide, I guess, but he needs to hurry. I have dreams of everyone else. Jamie and Mark are happy and loving each other. The hospital is thriving, but I am not. I am dying. I pray to the king. Yeah, I miss. He will provide. I also dream of a door that will open to me. I just have to survive the silence and the bad light. Day 36. It started to snow today. The first weather change I've seen the entire time I've been here. I feel fine. There were boxes waiting for me when I woke up. New earmuffs to help cancel out the silence and the hum. They work. As I walk, snow grows heavier. What am I waiting for? I don't know. I left Miranda behind. She means nothing to me anymore. The king must not be happy. As I whistle the tune of the Moonlight Sonata and stumble through this blizzard. Day 37, the snow has gotten heavier. Much, much heavier. No boxes. But I just eat the snow. Well, I'm scared. I set up camp for a quick rest, and the snow got more and more and more intense until I couldn't see anything. Then something broke the silent snow, pounding down around me, footsteps like an earthquake. They shake the ground. I write this to stay sane and strong. The king sent this. The ground is shaking. The king is not pleased. It's getting closer. I must run from the king. He's gonna punish me. Day 38. I've been running all day in little spurts. I dropped my backpack full of supplies, but managed to keep my paper with me. I stop for 15-minute intervals and run again. When I hear the tremors, this paper keeps me sane. I was insane with Miranda. The king was controlling me directly. I was wrong to have listened to him at all. He is evil. I know that now, and I always knew that. I need to see the monster. I need to stop this once and for all, and I have a plan. The snow is deep, very deep. About 3 feet. I'm going to make a tunnel, enough to conceal myself and confront the king as he thunders by. I will die, certainly, but I lost Jamie a long time ago. It doesn't matter anymore. The Moonlight Sonata is still playing in my head. Day 39. I fell asleep last night, or day, and I awoke to the thundering. I wasn't scared, I was ready. I had waited long enough for the king to show up. It didn't matter who he was or what he was doing. He was going to die, or I was going to die trying to kill him. The tremors grew louder and louder, and with each step the king took closer. The buzz intensified, and built and built and built, and when he got so close I could almost see him, the last thing I heard was a squick. For my head jerked in pain and blood was running out of my ears like a crimson river pooling on top of the snow below. It was just as well because I couldn't hear the buzz of silence. At last I saw him. He wasn't a thing. He didn't have any solid or tangible form. He was just pure white light, a cyclone of energy that was so vast and stoic when he moved. The earth, or whatever the fuck this is, moved with him. I guess I wasn't supposed to be able to see him because my eyes melted into the back of my skull, pooled with the blood on the floor just like the yolk of an egg, but it didn't matter because I didn't need to see him. His voice didn't need ears to be heard. It filled my head and forced every other tangible concept out. Nothing mattered but him. Nothing existed but him, and suddenly I knew what this was. This was hell. And I was in some kind of insane purgatory, and with the final energy I had, I felt myself slumping to the ground, and I felt my eyes regrow, my eardrums heal, and the erasers of the king erase my diary. I should have listened. He was trying to save me. Trapped. I don't know what I'm trapped in. I just woke up today like this, no way out. Didn't check the whole fucking thing because whatever I'm in doesn't end. Walls are white and freezing. Air's not cold though. Icicles on the ceiling. The ceiling's only 7 feet high. I could reach it on my tiptoes. Banged on it for a good 5 minutes before giving up. Fuck. I have no food and I can't tell if it's light or dark outside because this isn't the real world. Odd sense of deja vu. No doors. If they are, they're camouflaged. No way to tell how far the white room extends. I've walked for 2 hours today. No end in sight. Thirsty already. Scrape some ice off the walls. Only got enough to wet my lips. Going to sleep. Don't know why this paper's with me at all, but I'll keep a diary. To keep myself sane. And alive.
There is a fifth dimension beyond that which is known to man. It is a dimension as vast as space and as timeless as infinity. It is the middle ground between light and shadow, between science and superstition, and it lies between the pit of man's fears and the summit of his knowledge. This is the dimension of imagination. It is an area which we call
MrCreepyPasta Storytime.
Tonight, we visit the minds of Johnny and Frank, two men on the run, but what they don't know is they may be running right into the Twilight Zone.
I call this story Payday.
Everyone get on the fucking ground! Get on the ground now!
Get down! I don't want to see anyone do anything stupid.
We're not gonna be taking up anyone's time as long as everyone follows the rules.
Alarm's clear.
Open the drawers in the vault.
Mark it, we're at 2 minutes.
I said open the fucking vault!
F!
I know what I'm fucking doing! Thank you.
Minute 30.
Got it.
Don't look at me, look at the fucking door.
I am looking at the fucking door. Don't miss any of the money. Don't you reach for that cell phone, lady. I don't want to hurt anybody, but I will.
Time!
1 minute.
We're doing good, kid. One more bag.
Wait. Wait. No, you didn't. Did you just do what I think you fucking did?
What's wrong?
Silent alarm. The teller hit the silent alarm. We have to go.
I'm almost done.
I don't give a shit, man. We have to go. We have to go now.
Almost.
Fuck, man. We don't have time for this.
Almost! Jesus, give me a second.
Time, Frank. That's fucking time.
I'm done. Let's go.
Drive. It's the cops. But I think... They're at the bank. They're not following us. We did it, Frank. I don't believe we fucking did it.
You use my name.
Yeah, Frank? We're out of the bank. But do we have to use code names until we reach
No,
Mexico?
Johnny, you said my name in the bank. Everyone there fucking heard you, man.
Oh, shit, I did.
Yeah, you did. And a room full of civilians and tellers all heard you say Frank.
Well, what does it matter? We'll be in Mexico by tomorrow anyway.
It matters because we would be in Mexico until tomorrow. There's countless other things that could go wrong between now and tomorrow, Johnny.
Shit, don't throw that at me. This is my first job. You've done this how many fucking times?
You're right, Johnny. Never worked with an amateur like you. You're right.
Man, fuck you. Look, I'm sorry, man. This is what? The biggest score you've ever made in one job? We got to the bank before the branch transferred just like you wanted. Everything went off fine without a problem.
Except for the alarm.
But we made it out and the cops didn't even notice our car. We're home free, Frank. I didn't say your last name. How many Franks do you think are in Texas? How many Franks do you think use that bank alone? We're rich and we fucking got away with it.
Yeah, Johnny Rich.
Rich!
This time tomorrow, we're sitting on the damn Mexican coasts with margaritas and girls.
Margaritas and girls.
But don't you ever screw me over like that again. You hear me?
Why did you bring me on this job, Frank? Because I'm a fast learner. This. Wow. We're rich and we're staying here.
Get used to it.
Get used to it. This is what rich feels like staying in a shithole motel?
The place takes cash, and they don't need a name on the register, which is good, since the cops will be looking for someone named Frank.
Oh, great. We're bringing that up again.
Look, we just made off with enough cash to put us on Easy Street for the rest of your whiny-ass life. Do you think that the border isn't going to be swarmed with cops right now? We'll get there around 5 a.m. Cops are lazy. They'll be too tired to even know what to look for, and we can get waved on through. We've got to stay here just one night. Sleep all you can, and then we can get whatever 5-star hotel you want.
Oh, yeah. When you put logic to it, that totally gets rid of the roaches.
Sleep now.
Yes, Mom. Oh my God, are you serious? Like 2:30. Did you set a wake-up call? Frank. Hey, Frank.
Johnny, please. Just sleep, okay?
Seriously. Frank. Yeah. Hello? Hello? Are you kidding me? Seriously? Seriously? Hey, it's late. Can we stop the childish...
Frank's gonna kill you.
What did you say? Hey. Hey!
Jan, what are you yelling about?
There's someone on the phone who...
What?
Who? It's nothing. It's front desk. I want us to get to Mexico in time. I'm setting up a wake-up call.
All right.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
Whatever, man. Just stay cool, okay?
Yeah. Yeah. You too. Frank? Hey, Frank. Hello?
Frank's going to kill you.
Who is this? How could you know that?
Frank wouldn't let you get away with all that money. He wants it for himself. Frank wants to kill you.
You followed us. Are you a cop trying to mess with me? Are you trying to get a cut of the money? What's going on?
Frank wants your money. Frank had pulled these jobs before.
No, I said his name at the bank. You know that. You must have heard, and you followed us. Is this some kind of interrogation? Are you recording this to get a confession or something? I should hang up.
Hang up, and he'll kill you.
He can't kill me. He's asleep.
How do you know?
Frank. Hey, Frank.
He's not asleep. There's a gun in his bed. Don't get up. He'll know.
I'm on the phone. He'll already know. I'm talking out loud. What is this?
Why doesn't he have another partner?
His last partner was arrested. He was sloppy.
He chose an amateur.
Yeah, of course. Someone he knew wasn't going to rat on him and would be in for the long haul. Someone new.
Someone who wasn't going to be missed.
I don't... Then his last partner?
Dead. He kills them. He leaves them. He takes off with the money.
This is his biggest score. This is different.
Is that what he told you? Johnny?
You know who I am too? How could you possibly know me too? You were in the bank, but I didn't say my name.
He wants to kill you, Johnny.
Stop saying that. This is a clean job, and we're making it out of this together. It's an even split. We agreed.
And you think he's going to stick to that agreement?
We agreed on a 50-50 split.
Times he packed the money because he
I
needed
don't
you,
believe that.
and he doesn't need you any longer.
Stop it.
He's going to kill you.
What could I even do?
Kill him
What?
before he kills you.
No.
If you kill him first, think of all the money.
No, we agreed.
Think of all the money, Johnny. You could have it all.
But Frank...
Frank was planning to do the same to you.
Yeah,
The whole time.
yeah, from the very beginning.
Right. From the very beginning.
He used me. He was going to dump me here for the cops to find. That would distract them and let him move across the border. Is that what he was thinking?
That's exactly what he was thinking. They're so busy cataloging a murder. Who could see one car move past a checkpoint? Nobody.
Son of a bitch.
Son of a bitch.
I couldn't. I can't actually
Johnny,
kill someone.
You either die in a dirty old motel room for the roaches to pick at your rotting carcass with nothing. Poor. Your mother would never even hear about it. Or you kill him, and you leave filthy, stinking, rich.
Kill him.
Frank's gonna kill you, Johnny, unless you kill him first.
Unless I kill him first.
He's waking up, Johnny.
He is?
He's waking up and he's reaching for his gun in the dark. Don't you see it? Don't you see it, Johnny? He's moving his hand.
I don't know. Oh shit. Oh shit, I think I see
There's
it.
your gun, Johnny.
Fuck. Fuck, I left it on the floor.
Find it.
Fuck.
Find it!
I'm looking. Hold on, what's he doing?
John, who are you talking to?
He's awake, Johnny. He's taking aim.
Frank, stop.
Stop what? Stop sleeping? What's up with you?
He has his gun out, Johnny. He's gonna do it.
Fuck, man, calm down. We can still split the money.
Johnny, what are you doing, man? We had a deal. We had this plan.
I fucking knew it, man.
He
I
admits
fucking knew you were gonna gun me down from the start. I fucking knew it.
John!
Fire!
Well, you done a great service calling in the gunshot. We've been searching for this guy. They knocked over a bank about 200 miles upstate.
God, I mean, I checked him in and everything, but I don't think that's what this was about. Well, I'm glad you got him, officer. Stress must be high from a bank job. They were yelling and everything in a room before I heard a gunshot.
Yeah, you'd be surprised. That kind of money can do things to people. Oh yeah, just another question for the statement. The guy we arrested, Johnny something or other, was saying something about a man on the phone. Was that you, or was there anyone in the hotel who could have called their room?
Phone? No, that's impossible. The phone's been out for years. It's a bit easier to just not pay attention until someone complains.
Any complaints?
Well, hardly any customers, to be honest.
Thanks for your time.
Yeah.
Whoop. Hey there, kids. Give me just 1 second. I gotta make a quick phone call here.
Hi.
Hey there, Madam Macabre.
This is kind of a bad time. I'm getting a call on the other line. Do you mind if I just...
Yeah, sure, I get it.
I'll get back. Just 1 second. Dear God, can you please put that down? It's so unnerving. Sorry about that. Yeah, what were you trying to say? I'm sorry. I'm in the middle of a Jeff the Killer narration.
So, I was thinking, it's Halloween time and all, or around Halloween time. It's late October. That's basically where I was going with that. So I figured, why not call one of my good friends working on comics that I do voices for and such? We could go see movies. Annabelle,
Horror movie tonight? Yeah, I can... I should be able to make it. I'll have this all dealt with in time for... Yeah, no, I'm fine. Yeah, I'll talk to you later. Bye.
Which means that I have something I'm going to be doing. So I need to give you guys something to do. Why not enjoy tonight's story? Another tale of tantalizing teenage terror. And a bite to remember. I call this story The Perfect Mark.
This isn't where I pictured myself. When Felicia told me that we were going out for drinks, I thought we were going to the small bar near home. It's quiet, sure, but that's what I need some nights, It beats sitting around the table at the back corner of some downtown dance club.
Excuse me.
I'm sorry. I'm waiting for my...
Can I buy a drink?
I'm sorry. No, I'm here with my friend.
I saw her sitting there. She's an easy mark. She distanced herself from every other person in this place. She isn't dancing, she isn't drinking. I don't even think she's smiling. She's just sitting alone, watching everyone else. Dark hair, glasses, gorgeous body but hidden behind conservative clothes. Very easy mark. I'm sorry, I didn't mean... I saw you were sitting alone.
No, wait.
Gotcha.
Sorry, it's just that I was here with a friend, and I guess she kind of wandered off. I guess I am here alone.
So... drink?
I'm not sure what it was about this one. He seemed different than the rest. There was some kind of mysterious charm to him. He was tall and fit, but plenty of guys in here were. There was something different about him, though. Something I could almost smell. Almost taste. I suppose it couldn't hurt. He walked away into the dancing crowd and slipped past Felicia. I saw her dancing, grinding, on two new guys on the dance floor for the briefest of moments, before the sea of people became too thick and she disappeared. Felicia and I had been going out every night for the longest time together. We'd come accustomed to doing things a certain way, and this was so different. This was never my element, and she knew that. I suppose it's nice I could still find someone on my own like this.
Two of my usual, and, load one of them down. Thanks. She was making this too easy. Banter-friendly smile and nod, and she invited me to sit with her. I take the drinks back with me, careful not to spill a drop as I weave through dancers, spasming in time with the techno club music, and back to the girl that I've been speaking to before. I guess I should ask her for her name, shouldn't I? David. I'm David.
Oh! I'm Amelia.
It's a pleasure to meet you, Amelia.
Yeah, same. This is awkward. Why is this awkward? I've talked to guys like this before. They've bought me drinks, we've laughed. Why is this different? There's something different about him, and it's making me nervous.
You can loosen up. I'm not gonna bite.
No promises from me. That was a bad joke. I'm sorry, I'm just feeling awkward. I came here with my friend Felicia, and I don't really do dance clubs, but she does, and now she's off having fun while I just sit here being awkward with you, who is clearly confused, so I'm just gonna drink now.
It's fine, really. It's okay. She's talking, I only picked up a little of what she said. More tracing her jawline in the perfect curve and makes around her neck. It could be easily cut. So easily, and the skin of her throat would just pull away. I need her to trust me. Felicia, is that the blonde in the red dress?
Yeah.
The one dancing on two guys.
Yeah?
I'll tell you what. We'll show her up.
What do you mean?
Here. Finish up your drink, come with me.
Okay. He led me by the hand onto the dance floor. His hands were strong, like he'd been working with them a lot, and I traced my eyes from his hand up to his wrist and the muscles that wrapped around his arm. I was a bit excited to see what he was planning.
I wrapped my arms around her and began moving to the beat of the music. She's so resistant. I was hoping that the drink would have loosened her up way more by now. She does start to get the hang of things after a bit, and moves her body with mine. I grip her a bit tighter, and pull her closer against me.
What am I doing? I feel so strange with this one, but I can't seem to stop myself. He pulls me in closer, and there's a beautiful scent that flows from him. I turn my head to allow my senses better access, and my ear presses against his chest. I can hear his heartbeat. It's such a strong heartbeat.
There we go. She's giving in, and soon she'll be completely ready. I have so many sharp little toys for you at home, Amelia. So many things I could do to that smooth, pale skin.
We danced for what seemed like an eternity, and I still wanted it to last longer. This one, David's heartbeat, his lips, his neck, they were driving me wild. The whole world was left behind when I was with him. I couldn't remember Felicia, the club, or awkwardness. That's why it probably made so much sense to say yes when he asked me if I wanted to go home with him.
We walked out of the dance club towards my car. Amelia stumbled into me, and I couldn't tell if it was purposeful or the alcohol taking full effect on her body. Either way, I wrapped my arm around her and caught her. I held her up on her feet. She graciously wrapped her arms around my neck, laughing the whole time.
We reached his car, and my head was spinning. The smell that I was picking up from David on the dance floor was still swimming around the inside of my nose, and the sound of his heart pounding was still all I could hear. I'm so embarrassed how I lost control and stumbled. But as he was almost carrying me to his car, my arms around his neck, I could push my head against his chest and listen to the beat of his heart. I could almost feel it against my cheek.
I opened the door for her to the passenger side of my car. I may as well have been gentlemanly as I can for now. She doesn't have much longer from here, and she almost fell into the seat, still laughing. I couldn't help but smile back at her. I rushed back around to the driver's side and hopped in as well. The keys jingled from my pocket, and I placed them into the ignition. And I saw her looking at me. She had pulled off her glasses. She really was gorgeous. I was almost regretful from what I was going to do to that face, and from the looks of it. She wasn't going to let us get home first.
What am I doing? I'm not this kind of person. I don't just leave with someone like this. But whatever was going on with this one, it was driving me wild. I needed it. I needed it now, and I couldn't hold back any longer. I leaned in closer to David, and my hands reached behind his head. Just a little taste.
She pressed her lips against mine. Oh, that was a bit rougher than I thought that she was capable of. When girls go crazy like this, it's nearly enough to get me going. Can't get distracted. I push her back into her seat, never pulling my lips from hers, my hand going all over her body, her leg, and now reaching for the glove compartment.
I can't help but explore his body with my hands. I can feel his pulse racing. Am I doing that to him? I hope I am. The feeling of his heartbeat and that intoxicating smell is all I can think of. This one has cast a spell on me somehow, but I was loving it, and I needed to taste more of it.
The glove box fell open easily and silently, just as I had designed it to. And the hunting knife. I'm so glad it was clean from last time. It got so messy last time. I broke our kiss for just a moment to find and wrap my fingers around the handle.
No. No, don't break away. I need to taste more. I need it.
I angled the tip of the blade towards her stomach.
Please. I need this.
I can feel her mouth tracing my neck.
This is what I've been waiting for.
She doesn't see a thing.
This is what I have been wanting.
She's as good as...
Oh God, he tastes amazing. The feeling of his pulse pushing gush after gush of blood from his arteries into my mouth. I couldn't have waited any longer for this. His blood is so healthy, so rich, so sweet. I push him back into the driver's seat and place my hand against his chest. His heartbeat was so strong. I knew he would be perfect. And I am so sorry. This isn't the kind of person I am. I'm courteous. I always share with Felicia. We always wait till they're home and comfortable before we drain them. But David, sweet, delicious, poorly forgotten David, you were the perfect mark.
Hey there, kids! It's me, MrCreepyPasta, and it looks like Murphy and I have our heads on the chopping block again.
Hey, are we playing or what?
Sure, I'm up for a game, Murphy. Did you want to cut the deck?
No, we played poker last time. I had to bow out, but this time, we're playing for keeps.
Go.
Scared?
Please! I was born to make others scared, not to be scared myself. Ha! Your turn, old man.
Old? I'll show you old, you son of a... 4 out of 6. Those aren't good odds.
Never tell me the odds. 50-50 chances, Murphy.
Not even close. We've got 2 more empty chambers, so... You feeling lucky, MCP?
Well, boils and ghouls, this could be the end of your beloved narrating Blue Man. If I go, I want you all to know my only regret is that I missed Halloween. Well, Murphy, it's been nice knowing you.
You know what? Fuck this.
Whoa, let's talk about this.
What the hell?
Oh, that's not funny. Did you even load it?
I could have sworn I loaded it. There has to be a bullet in here.
Let me see that thing.
Hey, guys, can I get you in?
Well, that was eventful. While we get this cleaned up, why don't you enjoy tonight's story? A tale of excitement, insanity. I call this story Chat Room.
Alright, I got trash bags and a chainsaw.
Hi.
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 What's up?
What's up?
Nothing.
Nothing.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, well, I'm going to go now.
Okay, well, I'm going to go now.
Bye.
Bye.
Sup?
Sup?
Nothing much, you?
Nothing much, you?
Alright then.
Alright then.
Is this thing working right?
Is this thing working right?
Take that as a no.
Take that as a no.
Hey, what's up? Hello? How are you? Alright then.
I know. I know.
Sorry?
I know.
You know?
I know.
Right, well that's good for you. Hi.
I know who. I know who. I know who. I know who you are.
Is this some sort of a joke?
I know who you are.
Very funny.
I know who you are. I know who you are, and where you are.
What the hell is this?
I know who you are, and where you are. I know who your family are.
How are you doing this? I didn't even start another conversation.
I know who you are. I know who your family are.
Are you hacking my computer?
I know where you sleep at night. They are going to taste so good.
How the fuck are you doing this?
I'll eat you last, Matt.
How did you know my name?
You know those pencils you keep in that holder next to your monitor, Matt?
What the fuck?
I'm going to blind you with the red one, and then eat you.
Who the fuck is this?
I'm going to eat little Jenna, and then I'm going to eat your parents, and then you. Prepare yourself, Matt. I know you've never seen a dead body before. Did you hear that, Matt? Listen for the next one, Matt. There goes your dad, Matt. You're the only one left, Matt. Better lock your door, Matt. I'm outside your door, Matt. Can you hear the rattles, Matt? I'm opening the door, Matt. I'm opening the door. Goodbye, Matt.
So this is the story all about how my life got turned upside down, and I'd like to take a minute, just sit right there. I'll tell you how Fred Izzle Fazberry played Scrabble in a pizzatorium and shit.
The 69th night.
So I was playing a video game called Five Nights at Fred Izzle's, the pirated version of Five Nights at Freddy's that's too edgy for your granddaddy. And when I finished the 420 mode, my hand turned into blood from cramps, and it gave me 256 stars and unlocked
the 69th night.
Like a fucking moron, I clicked it and was given the screen shown here. It began another night, like normal, but everything was on the floor, and Freddy had a bong up his nose, with bread on his ears. I assumed this was a glitch and continued. What I didn't notice was that you could Scrabble at this night, and that I had 1337% power that drained when I looked around. I then came to the conclusion that I was a fan. Illuminati or what, guys? Then Fredizzle came up to me and turned into Shrek, who proceeded to sexually assault me with a pencil sharpener, and asked me to get out of his swamp. I said no when the game crashed. Then, I heard ticking. It turned out that the game planted a bomb inside of my anus during the game. Bruce Willis popped out of my computer, but failed to disarm the bomb, so I went parasailing across the ocean to Japan, where I was attacked by a giant tentacle made of bread. Wait. Freddy had bread in his ears. Are you ready for Fredizzle? My mom threw the computer away, so I can't prove any of this. But it was real. Oh my god, I think that gave me cancer.
Hey everybody, it's MrCreepyPasta, and I'm here with my friend, CreepyPasta Jr.
Hey everyone.
Looks like tonight's gonna be horror movie night.
Yeah.
And we've got a new 3D television. So, don your glasses, sir. Let's hit it.
Whoa. Oh, jeez. Ah! Oh, what was that?
Ooh.
Ooh. Did you see that?
That movie is so real.
Ah.
Well,
This movie sucks.
well, what have you got then?
I've got something for you. A new story.
Drifter steaks?
$20, $21, $26. $26, Chris. All-time record.
Trust me, honey, this is why you married me. This place just needs to get going is all. It's gonna be a gold mine, the diner we always wanted.
This place has had a year and a half to get going, Chris.
I know, but hey, Walt Disney was thrown out of art school before he became famous, right?
Actually, I think that was Hitler you're thinking of.
Funny, George.
I tried, but I think I could really help out here. If you'd give me a chance, Chris.
Really?
Yeah. The menu for this place is so plain. It's boring. Unoriginal. You need to liven it up some.
And what would you suggest, George?
Well, I know a great recipe for steaks. It's something I learned, drifting around.
Drifter steaks?
That's not a bad name for it.
Sure. A drifter steak sounds like something that you eat out of a dumpster. Hey, Jim.
Hey, Chris. Hey, I'd eat a drifter steak. Something new for Christ's sake, and Lord knows this place could use that.
Can I get you something to eat, Officer Jim?
Coffee, please. Don't have the stomach for it today.
Chris is a great chef, Jim.
I'm sure he is, but the food is still murder, and I have enough of that around this town. The place is going to hell in a handbasket, and your diner is right in the middle of it, you know that.
Yeah, I know. That's why I talked Chris into getting me a pistol for my purse.
Lord knows you'll need it.
The register's all closed up. Are you shutting down the grill?
Yeah, it'll just take me a bit. George is in back cleaning out the freezer too. I'll meet you at home.
All right. I love you.
I love you too. Be safe.
Chris, Lara,
Oh, Mr. Croft. I'm sorry. We're actually closed up for the night.
I'm not here to eat, Christopher. You and I have a problem.
Problem?
Mm-hmm. See, there's this thing you do each month where you give me money to pay off the building you serve people dead rats in.
That's not actually really nice of you to say.
But this month, you gave me a check. I accepted the check. I took the check to the bank.
Did the check not go through? Because
the check did not go through, Christopher.
Damn it. Well, look, Mr. Croft, I could pay you when...
You can pay me now?
Well, no.
Then you can close your diner.
Mr. Croft.
Can you pay me or not?
Give me a few days to put money together, and I'll have it for you, and...
You're trying to run a business, Christopher, and I understand that, but you are failing. Your diner is failing. Your marriage is probably failing. And as far as talking me into giving you more time, you're failing at that too. Have your filthy belongings out of my building by the end of the week, or I'll have the police do it for you.
You can't do this to me, Mr. Croft. Do you realize what I've gone through for this? You can't do this, you son of a bitch, you can't do this to me!
Christopher, calm down, let go of me.
I'll kill you, do you hear me?
Get your hands off me, you're crazy, get out of my building.
Chris, what the hell?
I don't know, I'm not sure what came over me. Oh my god, the diner.
Look, you go home. You've had a long day. I'll find Mr. Croft. I'll talk to him.
Yeah. Yeah, thanks, George.
Anything you need. Anything you need.
Hey, honey, you wouldn't believe this show I've been... What's wrong?
Oh, no, nothing.
Chris, we've been married for 4 years. I think I can tell when something's wrong.
Laura,
Talk to me, please.
The landlord showed up a few minutes after you left.
So? We paid this month, didn't we?
Oh, yes and no.
Chris, no.
I'm sorry, I thought we had enough to cover it, but it looks like I was wrong. Look, I have an idea. We can get a credit card, we can use that to get some new meats, some new ideas like George was talking about.
We can't keep doing that. We're in debt, don't you understand? We can't just drive ourselves further.
I'm sorry, Laura, okay? This is our dream. This is what we wanted. I can't just give up on it. But I understand if you can. If you want to leave, I understand, Laura.
Chris, I'd never give up on you. I couldn't do that. I'm in this for good, and that's that. Besides, you owe me a lot of money.
Hey, Chris. Laura. What's going on?
Hey, Jim. Sorry about the mess. Looks like we're going under. We're closed.
Oh, man. I've been on duty all morning. Can't spare one last meal?
Jim is our oldest customer.
Anything for you, Jim. But I don't know what we have left.
Well, they're... steak?
Steaks? When did we get...
That's my fault. I'm sorry. We were talking about it yesterday, and I figured it was worth a shot. If you guys had the chance to try it, maybe you'd come around, I guess.
Steak sounds great to me.
Overruled, I guess.
Steaks it is, then.
You're gonna love this, Jim. Special cut meat and seasoned just like my family did back home.
Looking forward to it. That smells amazing so far.
George, can I speak to you for a second? In the back?
Sure, Chris.
Hey, George. I appreciate you getting the meals. I really do. The steak idea was great. But it's a little too late, I'm afraid.
Oh. Welcome. I'm afraid we're...
Oh, that smells incredible. Can you throw some of those steaks on for me, Laura?
Well, sure. Hey, George. Are there any more of those steaks?
1 second, Chris. Yeah, Laura, they're in the freezer. Chris, can you hold this for me?
Sure, George, but I don't think you understand that. Oh my God!
What's the matter with you?
George. That's Mr. Croft.
Yeah, it is. And there are people waiting on their steaks.
Order up! Here you go, Jim. What do you think?
That's really good. That's amazing, actually. Thank you.
Anytime. Chris! George! I need that steak now! We almost have a full house of people waiting.
You can't do that, George. Jim's out there. The police are out there. You have to turn yourself in.
Yeah, and your wife is out there cooking Mr. Croft. And everyone outside the diner heard him yelling how you attacked him. So I didn't do anything. And who do you think they're going to believe?
Are you guys listening?
I need to bring the meat up front.
Oh, God.
Oh my God. Oh my God, Chris! Chris, do you see this? This is the best day we've ever had! And I'm serious this time. We've had almost $2,000 today. We can afford to keep the building, right?
Yes. Yes.
Oh my God, this is amazing! We're celebrating tonight. We have to. George, can you close up? I know it's a lot.
It is a lot. Tell you what, Laura, you head home. Get ready. We'll go out tonight. I'll help George and we'll all go out together.
That sounds amazing. Thanks, honey. And thank you, George. Seriously.
Before you say anything, Chris, this is a good thing.
How is this a good thing? We're accessories to murder.
Yeah, and you had the highest profit ever. Word's getting around about the stakes.
And we're almost out of... We're almost out of Croft.
Look, Chris, I like you. I like Laura. We're a great team. So you keep the diner running, be awkward smiling you, and I'll keep the stakes coming.
That means killing people, George.
That's all on me. Your hands stay clean, and we split the profits 50-50. Do we have a deal?
I don't know.
Come on, Chris. Anything for you, right? Right?
There you are.
Rare. And bloody, just like you asked, ma'am.
Thanks. I've always loved it rare.
Never been a fan of blood myself.
You have to try it then.
I don't know. I couldn't.
Here. Just a bite. You have to. Please.
All right. That's actually really good.
Hey, Jim. The usual?
Please. That sounds great. I've gotten addicted to these steaks, Laura. Oh, hey. Good and bad news for you guys, though.
Yeah?
We've gotten news about what happened to your landlord.
News?
Yeah, haven't you heard? He went missing a few weeks back.
Oh, no.
Yeah, hell in a handbasket and all that, but there are some new witnesses. We should have more information on him soon.
More information?
Yep, enough talk though, I'm starving.
Coming right up, Jim.
88, 89, 94, 7,000. Wow, good take today. This may come in handy.
George?
Laura, your purse. I counted up today's total. A new record. Put your cut into the purse.
Oh, thank you. Can you tell Chris to meet me at home when you two are done?
Sure. I think I heard him talking about going somewhere. But if I see him, I'll let him know.
Thanks. Good night, George.
Chris? Chris, are you still in here?
Yeah, George, I have to ask you, what are we gonna do? If they have new leads, then the police could be knocking at my door at any minute. Whoa. George, what are you doing with that? That's Laura's gun.
Yeah, Chris, it is. And you have a point. The police will be knocking at our door any minute. Maybe it's better if they knock on yours and take care of a poor paranoid man's suicide while I slip out of town.
Wait a second. You can't do this to me, George. We're in this 50-50.
We were in this 50-50.
You can't do this.
I would do anything for you, Chris. It's your turn to do anything for me.
George, have you seen my piss?
Well. This works out even better. Less loose ends. A murder-suicide. After marital troubles, a fight broke out. I heard them yelling at each other when Laura picked up a knife to try to defend herself. But Chris was too fast for her end.
It's a dangerous town at night, you know. But I don't really like Laura adding to it.
Chris never liked me actually keeping bullets in my gun.
Hang on now. Maybe there's another way around. Wait!
Good morning, Jim. Coffee?
As always, Laura. And my breakfast, please.
Usual steak and eggs?
You know me too well.
Any new information on those disappearances?
Well, depends. How often can you guys keep serving these steaks? I've developed a kind of hunger just for them.
As long as you let us, officer.
Then you two will be in business a long time. Anything for you guys. Anything for you.
There have been accounts and stories of people attempting the following. As it is a traditional song that suffers from an anonymous author, people have generally assumed that it is more than a poem and instead is a list of instructions to direct someone on a journey to a realm called the Further. As by now you've probably guessed, this possibly ancient rhyme was the inspiration for the film Insidious. I'm sure there's been debate as to what the Further is. I personally believe that it is the adventurer's own personal hell. And it is curiosity and foolhardiness that leads them there. The author describes thick yellow smoke, hideous thoughts, and bodiless eyes. Believe what you will, and try what you want. Unfortunately, copies of the poem seem scarce on the internet, so I share my copy with you. Enjoy, adventurers. Into the Further you go. To start your venture into the fray, first you settle at the end of the day, plead to prepare you for what you may see. You thank him for placing the fruits on the tree. And as the ticking takes you further below, into the Further you go. You light your home with a single flame to guide you out and far from declaim, away from the smoke and what you may see, to flee back to safety. The light is the key. And as the ticking takes you further below, into the Further you go. Close your eyes and sharpen your mind, for all weariness you leave behind. Any links to love in the world must be shed, for what lies below longs to hide in your head. And as the ticking takes you further below, into the Further you go. Meditate for an hour and a second, keep your mind here and refrain from deflection. Contemplate the Further and what you may see, let your mind open, and your soul will be free. And as the ticking takes you further below, into the Further you go.
As you steady in the state, explore and venture, but do not wait for any company you decide to stem. Go on without, and here you can't see them. As the ticking takes you further below, into the further you go. Take the candle you lit before and venture out of the nearest door. Your sanctuary has gone and your home disappeared. Welcome to the further and all that you feared. And as the ticking takes you further below, into the further you go. Normality now is to see blinking red lights near and around you, and the circling rise of yellow smoke and fog you were sure definitely was not there before. And as the ticking takes you further below, into the further you go. Your ears and the eternal night play tricks, that the faucet overflows with the waters of Styx. The reddest lights continue to gore as the smoke leads you to the front of his door. And as the ticking takes you further below, deeper into the further you go. A warning to all adventurers, beware, the bodiless eyes bid a scarlet glare, to alert that you're here and their invisible peers. Behind its door, their warning he hears. And as the ticking takes you further below, into the further you go. If you grow scared, your journey must stop. The further comes alive to bargain a swap of their empty blackness for your beating heart. Go in through the door for the end to start. And as the ticking takes you further below, deeper into the further you go. On the other side of the gated way, the flames of hell much further away, hideous thoughts and smells abound, their faces spin around, and as the ticking takes you further below, deeper into the further you go. They stare out at you from a single frame, their mouths moving quietly and uttering blame and hate for you and all that you've done. You'll feel to end, your mind will run. I counted 8 the time I went. In a tall mirror their faces bent and curled around like a painted frown that one could find on the face of a clown. These are the faces of the people you've lost, the ones you've envisioned and the ones that cost your heartache and longing for months on end, your thoughts of goodbye up to heaven you'd send. But no, here they are swirling in the mirror, down in the further. Life becomes dearer than anything that could have sparked the idea to share a midnight somewhere but here. In front of the glass, you lose your mind. Crouched in the dark, the door behind. You'll hear it slam shut regardless of luck. Inside the further, you're stuck. Hey there, boils and ghouls. It's me, MrCreepyPasta, and we're at the last day of the countdown, and you know what that means. Tomorrow night is Halloween night, so we might as well get started.
Do you have any idea who I am? Elvira, Mistress of the Dark. I've been doing this for a little while, you know. I should give you some pointers.
Alright, lady, I get it. You're pretty spooky and everything, but I think I've got my handle on... Wait, what? What'd you do to me? How am I... I'm so tiny. Don't hurt me.
Tonight's story is called The Harbinger Experiment.
The world we live in is full of things we don't understand. Being the curious humans that we are, we naturally try and seek things out. Doing so has led us to remarkable discoveries and inventions that we never could have imagined 100 years ago. We have defeated disease, built to the sky itself, and even created machines that could take us beyond the clouds and into the stars. If our ancestors could see us and what we've created, I'm sure many of them would see us as gods. Our innate curiosity and lust for knowledge has not always led us to greatness, however. True evil and darkness have also been uncovered in humanity's conquest for knowledge. And in the end, I fear this evil will be our doom. I do not say this from the standpoint of a great philosopher who has sat and simply pondered things either. No, I say this because I've seen it, experienced it. I was a part of it. The event I'm about to relate to you is true in its entirety. This I swear. I feel certain that this will fall on deaf ears, and many of you will believe this to be just another spooky story, cheap thrills, but I promise you that this is neither my intent nor my purpose. The purpose of this story is to simply warn you of what lurks beyond the veil of what we can see and understand, to show what awaits us in the darkness. Even if I myself don't understand it. What I'm about to tell you has happened, and I feel certain it will happen again. In 1971, a not-so-well-known scientist began preparations for an extremely secretive project known simply as the Harbinger experiment. I would like to keep the identity of the scientist a secret for personal reasons. So throughout this recounting, I will refer to him as Zimmerman. Zimmerman's background is unclear at best, but all that is known about him before that time is that he had grown up somewhere in Maryland with a strange fascination of the occult and supernatural. This later made him an outcast among his fellow scientists due to how scoffed upon the metaphysical was, and still is, at the time. Zimmerman's opinions concerning the otherworldly were not the sole cause of him being an outcast, though. It was his methods that made him widely unaccepted among his peers. Zimmerman was well known during his time for being ruthless and cold, beyond measure. He never cared about the means. All that mattered to him was results, and if he predicted the results to be valuable enough, although anything would be worth obtaining them. It was this insatiable and brutal lust for the truth that made him feared amongst those that knew of him, and the few that knew of him and did not fear him believed in him and followed him. The word Harbinger itself has such a mysterious and intimidating taste to it. Maybe it's the way it rolls off your tongue, or maybe it's simply due to its association with a project. But the word always seems to carry a certain amount of doom with it. The word itself means to warn or forebode. I can't imagine Zimmerman's reason for giving the experiment this title, but in retrospect it fits perfectly. Zimmerman came to a select few, me being one of them. He told us that he was working on something big, and that he needed people who could keep confidentiality and not spread idle gossip of his work. While he did not fully trust some of us, he did know that we were professionals, and that for some reason or another, we were all in dire need of employment. I had worked at the local clinic as a doctor, but I was caught stealing medications and was promptly fired. This left a very dark mark on my resume, so work was hard to find. I was also a native to Alaska and lived near where the experiment would take place, so I guess you could say I was a convenient choice. As you can imagine, I jumped at the opportunity. It was hard not to when I saw the payout. 15 of us were hired in total. Some were colleagues of his that had been working with him for a while, some were maintenance workers, and a few were hired as private security. I was the only medical professional to be hired. It is still a wonder to me how he even attained the funds necessary for the experiment. I would not be wholly surprised if his financing was not entirely legal, but legal or not, I needed the money, and he was paying. Looking back, it's a decision I've come to regret. After Zimmerman obtained his money, he used it to buy a relatively large plot of land deep in the frozen wilderness of Alaska, and upon that piece of land, Zimmerman built a concrete structure, not dissimilar to a bunker, in fact, the sole difference being that its goal was to keep any potential damage contained within the structure, rather than keeping it out, as he put it. Most of the structure dug underneath the earth, which had the effect of making the underground complex seem so much smaller than it really was from the outside, as would be expected. There was only one way of entering and leaving the underground structure, and it was via the ladder that led from a small, unassuming concrete building on the surface, which I will refer to from now on as the entrance building for convenience, to the network below. After everyone had gone to bed at night, the hatch that contained the ladder would be sealed off with a very large and thick metal lid. Zimmerman was very strict about this. Located not too far away from the entrance buildings was a series of wooden cabins that would serve as the sleeping quarters for the staff Zimmerman had hired. Compared to the entrance building standing on the surface, the underground system was massive. At the center of the complex was the control room. This was where all the facilities, electronics, and such were linked to. This included security cameras, lighting, and door controls. Consoles, monitors, and computers lined the walls of this large central chamber. This is also where the ladder on the entrance building connected to. Connected to the control room were 3 doors. One led to a smaller room that served as the infirmary. Another led to the break room, and the last door led into the hallways. The hallways are where the complex began to feel extremely eerie. They were, for some reason, laid out in an extremely confusing scheme that led in circles and to complete dead ends. These hallways made up a vast majority of the complex, and it would be very easy to get lost in the maze if you were unfamiliar with the complex. But if you knew where you were going, you would find yourself standing before one of the 3 8-by-8-foot rooms before long. Each room had a camera hooked up to one of the corners of the room, and all 3 of these cameras were connected to a corresponding monitor in the control room. Cameras were also scattered throughout the hallways, so that whoever was watching their corresponding monitor could see anywhere they wanted to, when they wanted to. Thick metal doors stood at the entrance to each of these 3 8-by-8-foot rooms, and in order to open them, you would have to enter a 4-digit code into a panel located near the door. I remember when I first arrived at the complex how badly the hallways frightened me. I've always been claustrophobic, you see, and these hallways were so very narrow. The noise, or more accurately, the lack of noise, was always a tremendous source of fear for me in these bleak, narrow hallways. It was always so unnaturally silent, as if the entire world had stopped moving. It really made you feel like you were trapped down there. And thankfully, though, I only rarely ventured into these hallways, for I was the only medical professional in the facility, and I had virtually no reason to go into them. In the beginning, I found it so peculiar that Zimmerman would ask for a medical professional like me on a project like this, but by the time it was all over, I understood why. The official purpose of the Harbinger experiment was to test and observe the effects of extended isolation on the human mind. This is what was listed on reports being sent out, at least. But unbeknownst to all those who were not participating in the project, excluding the subjects, the true purpose was much darker. Like I said before, Zimmerman had always had an obsession with the occult and supernatural. He sought to prove himself to those who did not believe in him. He wanted physical proof that the supernatural was a real phenomenon, and he wanted to be the first one to attain said proof. The true purpose of the Harbinger experiment was to find proof of the metaphysical, a world we could not see. The thought of doing this was naturally a tad bit daunting, and even scary, but it was Zimmerman's method of doing so that was truly terrifying. Zimmerman believed that he would be able to open a portal between worlds,
momentarily, allowing 3 random entities to cross over to our world, and each one of these beings would be trapped within one of these 3 rooms. Zimmerman had the theory that any entity would try and latch onto the nearest living thing that had the capacity for it. He wanted to use this technique to trap a spirit in a physical form by allowing it to enter a living being that had been injected with compound mixtures of Zimmerman's creation. In theory, this compound would keep the entity from simply leaving whatever it was attached to. The only way it would be able to leave a host who was being injected with the compound was through death. According to Zimmerman, the host would have to be something living, with a will strong enough to survive the possession. And there's only one known species that possesses the amount of will required for this. Humans. Zimmerman had also done something to ensure that the entities would only enter the 3 rooms and that they would only be one entity in each room, though I can't say I know exactly what he did. In fact, I know next to nothing when it comes to how Zimmerman managed to do what he did. He liked to keep his methodology a secret to his most trusted and himself, most likely due to his paranoia that someone would steal his ideas and take credit for the success of said ideas. If I had known that this was the true purpose before I signed up, I may have reconsidered. But Zimmerman decided not to tell us until we were all gathered at his fortress. Even if any of us wanted to leave, I doubt we would have been allowed to do so. The security team Zimmerman had hired was loyal to him and the payout. It is not unlikely that Zimmerman had given them the order to not allow anyone to leave. There were 3 different subjects included in the experiment. All were native to Alaska, and each one was lured into the project under the belief that they would be participating in a harmless study of the effects of isolation on the human mind, as I mentioned before. Which is why none of the subjects objected when they realized that they would be confined to one of the 3 rooms that I had mentioned earlier. The first subject was a young man. He was apparently out of work and desperately needed the money that had been offered for participating in the study. The second was a woman. By looking at her, I could tell she was an addict of some sort. The third and final subject was an older man, a drifter, if I had to guess. One thing that they all had in common was that none of them had any family or friends left. In short, no one would miss them. And that's why they were chosen for the project. I'm sorry, I wish I could supply more information about the subjects, but all of this has been drawn from memory, and I was given little information on the 3 to begin with. The subject did not officially begin until 1987, 16 years after its original announcement. I was eager to begin, so I packed up and headed out to the complex as soon as I could. I arrived at the complex a few weeks before the subjects had even signed up, and a whole month before the project even began. I was not the first to arrive by any means. When I got there, Zimmerman, his colleagues, and the security team had already arrived. I suppose you could say I was the first among the people Zimmerman did not trust to arrive. Everyone had arrived about a week before the experiment began. There was a noticeable rift between those who were there simply for money, like me, and those who were followers of Zimmerman. On October 15th, 1987, all the preparations were in place. The subjects had been sealed in their rooms, the cameras, lights, and speakers were fully operational, and all the staff members had settled in. The time had come for the experiment to officially begin. Zimmerman asked everyone to report to the control room around 9 p.m. to witness the beginning of the experiment. He wanted everyone to be present when he proved that all of his theories had been correct, and that he was not just a madman. He wanted us all to see the fruits of his labor. When everyone had finally gathered in the large control room, Zimmerman turned to us and simply said, "Observe." He then turned his back to us
leaning into the microphone that would project his voice throughout the 3 rooms, and then he began chanting in a strange language that I feel certain no one but Zimmerman could understand. We all observed the 3 large monitors on the wall, silently waiting for something to happen. The subjects all stood in their room, dumbstruck by Zimmerman's chanting, staring at the monitors with confused expressions in their faces, and after about 5 minutes, I felt something awful. I cannot explain what exactly it was, but a horrible feeling of dread washed over me, riddling me with fear. It was then that the ground actually began to shake subtly, and the lights began to flicker. Zimmerman continued chanting into the microphone as if nothing was off or wrong, while the subjects began dashing around their rooms, screaming for help. Then suddenly the ground stopped shaking and the monitor's images turned to static. The air started to become very heavy as we all stared at the monitors, waiting for them to regain their image and show us what was happening, or what had happened in those 3 rooms. For a while all was silent, but then there was screaming. The screams of a woman going through unbearable pain and terror began to echo through the compound. The similar screams of men began to coincide with women's terrified screams. Together they mixed into an awful symphony of pain and fear that beat mercilessly into our ears. Those of us who were here for the money began to give each other worried and scared looks, while those loyal to Zimmerman seemed completely unfazed. We wanted to leave and never come back to this awful place, but we all knew deep down that Zimmerman would not allow that to happen. We were here for the long haul. There was no escape. It was 10:13 p.m. when the screaming finally stopped. The monitors had yet to reveal to us what had occurred in those 3 rooms. As soon as the screaming ended, Zimmerman stood and dismissed us all for the night, adding that we were all forbidden to come back into the compound until 10 a.m. tomorrow morning. But like any of us wanted to, we all made our way out of the compound towards the cabins and settled in for the night. I feel it is safe to say that not all of us slept well that night, and I was not one of them. The following morning, all the staff had arrived at the entrance building. We all stood inside, exchanging tired or nervous looks as we waited for Zimmerman to arrive and open the hatch that concealed the ladder. I could see palpable fear in the eyes of some of us, while others did not seem to even be remotely affected by what happened last night. Zimmerman showed up 5 minutes after 10, apologizing for his tardiness as he came through the door of the entrance building. He opened the hatch and without any hesitation began descending the ladder downwards into the black abyss. He almost seemed enthusiastic. I was the first to follow, behind Zimmerman's dark descent into the facility. It seemed that the farther I climbed down, the more darkness closed in on me, as if it were trying to swallow me whole, and as I climbed deeper, I couldn't help but feel that this place was different somehow. Well, before there was only the unsettling concrete hallways and rooms, now there was something else. Something made the eeriness feel so real and personified. I felt like a horrible and gruesome scene awaited us down there, but I continued climbing downward despite my fear and my hesitation. This was no longer just a spooky bunker. There was darkness and malevolence in the air. A true evil now lived here, and I could feel it. We all could. I finally felt my foot touch ground and let out a silent sigh of relief to be on the solid ground. Almost as if, on cue, the light bulbs came alive, dousing the room in warm and welcoming light. Zimmerman must have turned on the power, I thought. I allowed myself to take a couple seconds to examine the control room. It was exactly as we had left it last night, for which I gave a silent and thankful prayer. It was almost as if nothing unusual had ever happened. I shook myself from my thoughts as I remembered the static-filled monitors from the night before. I let my eyes slowly make their way towards the monitors on the wall, anticipating the grim and fearful scene that would be on them. My attention was first grabbed by monitors 1 and 3, which were still pure static. It would have been a small relief, but then the motionless image on monitor 2 caught my eye. Room 2 was entirely still, and everything seemed entirely untouched. I couldn't help but gasp as I noticed the only thing that was different, the woman. The woman lay in the center of the small concrete room. An expression of fear and terror was frozen into her gaunt face as she lay silent and motionless on her back. Zimmerman's expression turned angry when he saw this. He ordered that the second monitor be turned off, and it was. We didn't ask why. It's not like any of us wanted to see the dreadful scene any longer. He also ordered that if the images on the monitors 1 and 3 did not return within the next 2 hours, the security team would be sent to investigate the rooms. The security team nodded at hearing this. They made it seem as if they had no fear, but I could see it in their eyes. The subtly loud tick-tock of the clock was the only sound that echoed through the control room while I stared at the monitors. An hour and 50 minutes had gone by, and static was still all that occupied monitor 1 and 3. All of the other staff members were working except me. This was due to the fact that the project had been completely injury-free thus far, so I essentially had nothing to do but wait for someone to hurt themselves. Zimmerman, a couple of his colleagues, and I were the only ones who occupied the room. They quietly chatted amongst each other on the other side of the room, while I spent my time reading and pondering the situation I currently found myself in. I had clearly made a mistake coming here. The corpse laying in room 2 was evidence enough of this. And God only knew what awaited us in rooms 1 and 3. My thoughts were soon interrupted as monitor 3's image returned. The clear image now displayed on the screen made everyone's eyes noticeably widen. What had displayed on the monitor was... it was horrifying. A humanoid thing stood in the center of the room, staring directly at the camera, unmoving. It was wearing the jumpsuit that Subject 3 had been issued, but this was clearly not the same man that had entered the room. What caught my attention first were its eyes. They were solid black and twice the size of normal human eyes. They seemed so endless and so cold. Its head had also grown with the eyes in such a symmetrical and unsettling manner. The being had also shed all of its hair it once had, and even from the monitor I could see how unnaturally smooth and clear its skin was. It had also seemingly grown in height and stature, which could be seen in the fact that the jumpsuit was now obviously far too small for its wearer. Its limbs had grown especially long, its arms hung almost as low as the creature's knees. What we were looking at was in no way the same man that we had sent inside. Fear was all I felt as I continued to stare into the monitor at the thing in the room, and my fear seemed to be shared by those around me, which made me feel kinda good. It may sound awful, but it was a bit satisfying to see that Zimmerman and his colleagues could feel fear too. But at the same time, it was worrying because this showed that this was not part of Zimmerman's plan. Something had gone wrong. We all stared into the monitor at the thing despite our fear. It was almost as if we were in a trance. My already present fear began to grow and spread rapidly through my body as I became lost in the creature's eyes, trapped in its terrifyingly hypnotic gaze. After what felt like forever, I managed to break eye contact with the creature and divert my attention from the monitor, and when I did, I felt my fear levels drop considerably. After a short while, Zimmerman ordered his security team to make their way to Subject 1's door, just as he said that he would do. The security team left without question, armed only with batons and pistols. I focused my attention on watching the men progress through the hallways towards Subject 1's room via the cameras.
Even though they're not so high-quality cameras, it wasn't hard to tell that these men were afraid of what awaited them. Their heads were downcast as they walked. They did not possess the same confidence within them that they did when this project began. They looked like scared boys being sent off to a terrible war. Eventually, they made it to the door. We had perfect vision of them and the door via the hallway camera. One of them said something through one of the walkie-talkies and made a motion toward the camera. In response, one of Zimmerman's colleagues buzzed the door open. The men already had their pistols out by the time the button was pushed. Slowly, the door began to open. We all watched eagerly as the men began to approach the door, guns aimed inside, and suddenly, without warning, there was a large shriek, and something bounded out of the room at the men. The monitor turned into static. Immediately, we could hear screaming echoing down the hallways, followed shortly after by the distinct sound of gunshots. We could do nothing but wait. After a couple of minutes, the screaming and gunshots stopped. We all waited and prayed, hoping that whatever bounded at them from the room would not be the one to return to the control room. And after a couple more minutes, 3 of the men came back, carrying with them the corpse of the 4th. He had many cuts over his chest, and his face was shredded. You couldn't even tell who he was anymore, or even that he was human. I was used to gore being a doctor and all, so I felt somewhat unfazed by the mass of shredded flesh and bloodied meat that they carried with them, but many of the others went pale and vomited. The security team all wore emotionless expressions and eyes filled with terror. One of the men finally looked up at us. He stared at us for a while with those wide eyes of his. "It's dead," he finally managed to mutter in a shaken and scared voice. A couple of hours went by. The dead man's name was Frank. He was buried outside in the cold Alaskan ground. 2 of the men were unharmed. Physically, at least. The 3rd was alive, but only barely. His body was covered in bloody slashes, and one of his eyes had been gouged out. I managed to stabilize him, but only just. The other 2 men vaguely explained what happened. Apparently Subject 1 leaped out at Frank after the door was open, only it wasn't really Subject 1 anymore. According to them, it was a hideously contorted face and long, sharp claws. They claimed to have shot it over a dozen times before it fell dead. And then they emptied another dozen bullets into it just to be sure that it really was dead. Only once it was dead did they come back. After tending to the wounded man, I went to investigate the monitors, and as afraid as I was of seeing what those monitors may hold, I needed to see. Subject 3 was the only one left now, and I needed to see it and make sure the creature was still in his room. It seemed to be more like a jail cell than an ordinary room at this point, though, which was probably a good thing. The cameras displayed Subject 1's room. In the hallway outside, it still displayed a static-filled screen. No one was sent to repair them or to investigate. We just had to hope that Subject 1 was well and truly dead. Monitor 3's image was exactly the same as I had left it. Subject 3 was still staring directly into camera at us. He was still in the exact same position, and if it were not for the small fan in the corner of the room, I would think that I was looking at a still image. In a way, I felt relief at seeing this. Relief that he was still in his room and not escaped while no one else was looking. After everything quieted down, I noticed something especially unusual. There was a strange sound emanating from somewhere. At first it was barely noticeable. The only reason I heard it was because of how extremely quiet it was in the infirmary, but as time went by, it slowly began to increase in volume. After about an hour, it was loud enough that everyone else could hear it too, and after a couple more hours, its volume had increased so much that we could determine what the noise was. It was a song.
One of the staff members identified it as Living in the Sunlight by Tiny Tim. Apparently, his father loved that song and listened to it frequently. The song seemed to be on loop and kept replaying itself. Although we were able to identify the noise, we remained unable to identify its source. We knew that it wasn't coming from the speakers because we had turned them off. It seemed to be emanating from the walls themselves. More time ticked by as we all began to become increasingly agitated by the song. I spent most of my time in the infirmary attending to Frank or in the control room. Fear hung in the air, and the presence of unmistakable darkness and evil was no doubt its source. Subject 3 had still not moved. He had kept his unblinking gaze fixed on the camera the entire time. It always felt like he was staring directly at me, no matter where I was in the room. I think this effect was also felt by the others due to the fact that they seemed to move around the room a lot, and for seemingly no reason. After a few hours, the song was so loud that people almost had to shout in order to communicate. We had been trying to find its source so that we could turn the song off, but it was to no avail. The source was completely unidentifiable. This added to the level of extreme irritation to our already very present fear. It was around 8:30 that the ground itself began to shake once again, just as it had done the previous night. Panic began to spread amongst my fellow employees and I, as the shaking grew in intensity. During this, I had the sudden instinctual feeling to look over at Subject 3's monitor. It was gone. Almost as if on cue, the power went out, and thankfully, the song did as well. Ever since the security team came back, panic had been slowly building amongst the staff, and Zimmerman was powerless to stop it. When those lights went out, the calm projections that everyone had been trying to maintain left us, and the fear in all our hearts took over. The emergency backup lights kicked on shortly after the power went out, which I gave a silent, thankful prayer for. The lights were dim, but they still allowed me to see a lot. Total panic seized us as many of my fellow staff members began screaming and rushing to the ladder in an attempt to escape. But too many were trying to use it at once, and no one was able to get very far on the ladder without someone else pulling them to the floor and taking their place. Zimmerman was shouting for everyone to calm down, but his dominating and intimidating personality had no effect here, and his demand fell on deaf ears. It was total chaos. It wasn't long until people actually started hurting each other in their desperate attempts to get up that ladder and out of this place. I could only stand against the wall and wait for my opportunity to escape up that ladder. All the screams were soon silenced, as the familiar hum of that unsettling song began to rise in volume again. Only much quicker this time. And this time, it was clear that the noise was coming directly from the maze-like corridors. People stopped fighting and shouting as all our attention shifted to the door that led into the hallways. The song quickly got louder than it ever had been before, which forced many of us to cup our ears with our hands in an attempt to silence the noise. Then, suddenly, the song completely stopped. Silence. That was all that filled the room as we all stared at the thick metal door in anticipation for what was coming. It felt like ages had gone by, but in reality, it was probably only seconds before the silence was broken. The door suddenly and violently burst open and the music started again, louder than it had ever been before. The suddenness of the volume of it caused many of us to recoil from falling to the ground and grabbing our ears in an attempt to block out the noise. I glanced up for just a second, and in the doorway stood a tall, smooth-skinned figure with long limbs and eyes so dark and malevolent that you could clearly see them in the dim lighting.
After I got my bearings, I looked upwards towards the creature once again, just in time to see the thing pick up and rip Zimmerman in half in one fluid motion, dousing the room and everyone in it with his blood, intestines, and organs. I was no stranger to gore, but the sight of that was too much for me to bear. I hunched over immediately after seeing this and vomited all over the cold cement floor. The latter is my only hope of survival, I thought to myself, as I forced myself to a standing position, and my eyes rose along with the rest of me. I could see the thing ripping and tearing through the people as they scattered in an attempt to escape it. It was distracted, as awful as it sounds. This was my only chance to get up that ladder. I forced my legs to move towards the ladder, trying to block out the terrified screams of my fellow staff members and the unbearably loud music. I could hear gunshots coinciding with the screams and terrible sounds of flesh being ripped apart somewhere in the massive noise. I reached my hands outward and felt a wave of relief wash over me as my fingers came in contact with the hard, metal rungs of the ladder. I gripped them and began to climb upwards as quickly as I could in my disoriented state, all the while praying that the monsters would not see me and pull me off the ladder and back onto the slaughter. It felt like at any moment I would feel one of its smooth hands wrap around my ankles and pull me to my death, but I eventually made it to the top. There was no question in my mind. I had to close the hatch and seal that thing down there, even if it meant certain death for my colleagues. I could not allow that thing to escape. I gripped the thick metal lid and began to push with all my might in an attempt to seal the underground complex off. And despite how dense and sturdy it was, the lid was surprisingly easy to move, and did not take very much effort to push it over the hatch, even in my weakened state. In seconds, the hatch was completely covered in a dense metal lid. I collapsed onto my side and began to vomit some more as exhaustion overtook me. And as I lay there, I realized something. Aside from my labored breaths, the only thing I could hear was that faint echo of the song from down below. I felt as though I would lose more of my sanity if I continued to lay there and listen to that song, so I once again forced myself to my feet and began to make my way to the wooden lodge I had stayed in the previous night. It was where I had left my baggage, and also where I left the keys to my truck. Of the 15 staff members that took part in that forsaken experiment, I'm the only one who survived. I've never returned to that awful place where all of this happened, and I don't intend to. The project was very secretive, and Zimmerman was the only one who knew all of the details of it, and as far as I know, no one is aware of my involvement aside from me. In fact, I'm probably the only one who knows what the Harbinger experiment truly was, let alone what actually happened. By now, you are probably wondering why I've told you all of this. Well, I've told you about something that none of you should be aware of. Maybe you're expecting me to give you a speech about not messing with things that you don't understand or something along those lines. I hope not, for I have no speech to give or lesson to impart. I began hearing a noise earlier today. Almost immediately, I'd recognized the noise as a very haunting and familiar song, and I didn't even try to trace it to its source. I knew it would be pointless, and as the day has progressed, the song has increased in volume. It's loud enough now that I can very clearly make out the lyrics. I'm completely unable to escape Tiny Tim's voice. It's followed me everywhere that I've gone. Subject 3 is coming for me, and I know my time left in this world is extremely limited now. I know. You could say that I just wanted to tell the tale of the Harbinger experiment before it was lost forever. I hope that you'll take some lesson from what I've recounted to you, but I think we both know that you won't. Let's be honest. You don't believe a word of what I just told you, and I don't blame you. I wouldn't believe me if I were you. To you, this is nothing more than something that you get cheap thrills from. You were probably mindlessly surfing the internet with you when you clicked a link and found yourself here. Whoever here may be, hearing this story. And to be honest, I don't care if you believe me or not. Even if you do, it probably won't save you from trying to uncover the truth of some darkness that a few of us have ever seen. It certainly never stopped Zimmerman. If you want a lesson, look at what happened to him when he went seeking the truth. I pray that none of you will ever discover this truth. I pray that none of you will ever have to see the evil that I've seen. I hope that you all get to live in ignorance of what lies beyond the veil of what can be understood. It's here now. I could feel the black eyes burning into me just as I could all those years ago. I am as much to blame as Zimmerman for this monstrosity that's now free to roam the world, even if I was not the one to create it. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Klaatu Verata Necktie. Nectar. Nickelback. Oh! Hey there, boys and girls. It's me, MrCreepyPasta. And since it's Halloween night, I was trying to raise one of my favorite creepypasta monsters back from the dead. But I can't seem to get the ritual's wording right. Pretty sure it's something along the lines of Klaatu Verata Nicto. Well, maybe I should call up Creeps, ask him if there's a, maybe he'll know what the... Ah! Well then. Tonight's story. Jane the Killer. Excerpt from local newspaper. Ominous unknown killer is still at large. After several gruesome murders just those few short months ago, another connected murder has been discovered in the same local neighborhood. An innocent young girl's body was discovered in her bedroom late last night. Her mother is here to comment.
She's never hurt anyone before. My daughter was loving, helpful, countless friends. I just can't imagine what would make someone want to do this. My husband and I were sleeping. We didn't think something like this was possible. But then we heard the screaming. It was our daughter. But we heard someone else in there too. I told my husband to help me. He went for his goddamn gun first. I wasn't going to wait. I ran down the hallway. I was going to save our baby. Then I heard what sounded like a demon. Dark and sorrowful, like the devil himself. It told her to go to sleep. I don't know what that meant, or if it was just trying to be sick, but I swear that's what I heard. Go to sleep. I don't care about anything anymore. I don't care about rebuilding my house. I don't care about rebuilding my marriage. I just want her back. I just want my baby back.
My name is Jane Arkansas. No, it's not. Let me start again. My name was Jane Arkansas. I lived in a nice neighborhood. The houses were kind of cheap, sure, but I wasn't that surprised when the new family moved in and I saw him for the first time. I must have been 13 or 14. 14. I was 14 for sure. God, how could I have forgotten that? It's almost like the memories are fading. I don't want them to fade. Huh? Oh, God damn it. Am I seriously that late to school already? This was the life I used to have. Staying up late on my computer at night, talking to my friends on Skype. I was an okay student, I guess. Maybe I didn't do homework as often as I should have, but I didn't deserve this. This was the day I would meet the new neighbors, but not how I wanted to. Jeff and Lou.
Jane, are you awake yet?
Yeah, God damn it. I just overslept. I'm on my way out.
Do not miss the bus. I don't have time to take you to school before work.
I could see them as I was nearing the bus stop. Jeff was the good kid, I could tell. No fights, good grades. Lou was shorter, but damn, he looked tougher. The kind who looked like he would put family first. Shit.
Janie! Janie! You're looking for a quick ride to school, huh? What do you think, Keith?
Motherfucking Randy. I should have known I'd see him on the way to school today. I never usually ran this late.
Oh, I think she's looking for a ride, Randy. And I have a quick ride for you, alright.
Fuck off, Keith.
Hey, watch your mouth there, little Janie.
Little Janie.
Yeah, I bet everything looks small to you, fat Troy.
Yeah, fair. Wait. Fuck it, bitch.
Hey, we're talking to a lady here. So, Janie, what's on the menu for us today? Were you going to cough up your purse for us, or were you going to give me something a bit sweeter?
I didn't mean to. There were 3 of them, and I was scared. I would have clocked that son of a bitch in the face, but it was known that Randy and his gang of idiots had knives on them. I panicked. I looked to Jeff and Lou at the bus stop, thought about calling them for help, but Randy caught my stare first.
The new kids are friends of yours, huh?
What? No, I don't know them. They're not my friends.
No, I don't think so. I think she likes the new guy, Randy.
I think so too, Troy. Young love with your fucking little boyfriend over there.
He's not. I don't even know him.
Oh, okay. Then you won't mind us robbing them blind, huh?
I guess I should have warned them. yelled out to them that Randy was coming. But what did I care? They were going to run into them sometime, and I didn't know them. I picked myself off the ground where Randy and the others had left me. I watched him skate up to Jeff and Lou. It was a blur. Talking, fighting, knives. In a flash, Jeff had stabbed them in the arm, broke a wrist. Troy was throwing up. But Jeff and Lou were running away. What was I supposed to do? The bus driver had pulled up and the police would be coming soon. I turned and I ran, told my mom I missed the bus. She drove me to school. I never told her what I had seen. This wasn't my fault. Randy was an asshole. He deserved what he got. Right? I had art first period. I can still see the colors in my artwork if I think hard enough. But when I try to look at anything now, it all seems gray. I guess that's the price someone pays for losing their innocence. I didn't see Jeff until the 4th period of the day. Something was wrong. Not the sulking or guilty wrong. At first I thought he was just faking the joy so people wouldn't suspect him for the crime that he did. But he really was enjoying himself. It wasn't because he was excited to be at school, I could tell that much. The smile he wore looked sadistic to me. It was the smile of a madman, and the second that bell rang, I bolted out those doors as fast as I could. Nobody but me knew what Jeff really was. He was a goddamn freak.
And the cars came up to the kid's house and they dragged him out. They had their guns out and everything. It was badass. It was like Louis or Louie or something. He was a new kid.
Lou. The kid's name was Lou.
Aw, what's the matter, Jane? Eating your lunch and don't want to gossip?
Actually, Melissa, I really don't want to talk about this. I saw the new kids. Jeff and his brother, the one that got arrested.
Are they cute?
Are they... How the hell is that relevant?
Hey, I'm just asking. I'm your best friend. I've known you since 3rd grade. You can't hold out on me, you know.
I'm being serious, Mel. I saw him fight Randy and those guys the other day.
Wait, seriously? No way. What happened? Was it bloody? Lou seemed like a big guy. He could...
Lou didn't do anything. I mean, I think he wanted to, but Jeff did it first. He stabbed them. Kicked their asses.
Shit. Wow. That explains a lot.
What does?
I was, like, right there. I was watching. The cops arrested Lou, like, with guns and the lights and everything. It was like CSI.
Yeah, so?
His brother was, like, screaming and crying that he did it and that they should take him instead. He was sitting there crying for hours, dude. Shit was sad. You don't have to get involved. This is like a police thing. You can just sit out.
Really?
No. I know you actually can't just sit and watch. Your little Super Janie have to swoop in and help people.
I hate you.
I know. Let me know if he's cute.
Fucking Melissa didn't have to say anything about it. We could have just eaten lunch like normal. Talked about TV or Tumblr. Some other fucking shit. Why did she have to bring him up and make me think about him? Why did I have to see him? Jeff? You're Jeff, right? Hey, I just wanted to say, I know what you're... Okay, no, I don't know what you're going through, but I heard about what happened, and... I guess if you need a witness or something to help... I saw you and Randy... I'm sorry. Just, if you need someone to help you, I'm here. You're new, and everyone could use a friend when they move somewhere new, you know? Okay, well... I'll let you cool down, I guess. I'm sorry if I upset you.
Thank you. I'm sorry, I'm just not doing so well right now.
I get it. It's fine. I'm Jane, so just ask if you... Bye, I guess. Emo son of a bitch. I thought he was hurt and alone. I thought he was human. I trusted him. Saturday. I don't think I need to tell you which Saturday. You know it. The kid Billy who lived down the street. He's a cute little kid. He's so nice. It was his birthday. At the time, I left my window open because I wanted a nice breeze in my room while I did my homework, but the kids were getting loud, so I decided to close it. But dear God, I got to the window. And I saw Jeff playing with the kids. He was running around wearing one of those fake cowboy hats and carrying a toy gun. He looked so ridiculous. I had to laugh.
Nobody move or guts will fly.
Hello? Hello, I need your help. There's 3 kids. 3 kids at my neighbor's house. They have guns, and I hear shooting and screaming. No, I'm on my way there now. I'm here. Can you get the address from my phone? Jeff, what the fuck? He was brave. I thought he was brave because he cared about people. I thought he cared about Billy and that he didn't want people to be hurt. I sat next to his bed while he was in the hospital. I watched his chest rise and fall and listened to the machines beep. I looked at the bandages that covered his face and I felt sympathy. I was a fucking idiot.
Sweetie.
What? What happened? Is he...
No, he's not woken up yet. You're... Jane, right? Jane, Arkansas?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm Jeff's mother, Margaret.
It's nice to meet you, ma'am.
He's going to be okay, you know. I'm really proud of him, of what he did for everyone. If he hadn't stopped those boys, more people could have gotten hurt. Those kids could have gotten hurt. I just wish that... I wish that my son didn't have to get hurt at that expense. Thank you, Jane. For calling the police when you did. For coming to help my son. You can go home. I'll stay with him for now. And my husband Peter will be in here later. We're not leaving him until he's awake. I'll let him know who you are and what you did for him. I'm glad he's made a friend so fast after we moved here.
Thank you. I am happy to have him as my friend. I guess I'll see him in school when he's better.
Tell you what, I'll have him come over when he's better to say hi. He'll want to see you.
She was dead 2 weeks later. The newspapers wrote about it. Ominous unknown killer is what they said. The first victims of the killer were Jeff's family. The night they took him home, they were murdered. They said that there was so much blood and carnage that they couldn't tell the number of bodies at first. They originally reported that everyone in the house had been killed. They reported that the whole family of 4 was dead and that the murderer had escaped. But later they announced they were wrong.
So your boyfriend's a serial killer now. Have you heard about that? I don't know. The danger of it can be pretty hot. Jane? Jane, come on. I'm sorry. I'm messing with you. Oh my god. You two were actually dating, weren't you?
No! For fuck's sake, Melissa.
Well, I don't know. You're not saying anything.
Because my neighbor butchered his own family. How the fuck am I supposed to feel about that? What am I supposed to say?
Dude, I don't know. I'm sorry, okay? Jeez.
Melissa, I helped him. I talked to them. I didn't know he would do this. I didn't think he could do this. Is this my fault?
No way, Jane. It's not your fault. You didn't kill anybody. You helped people. You get that? You helped somebody who was in pain and needed help, and if you were there to help that psycho's family, you probably would have saved them too. You're the hero here.
I don't know.
Yeah? Well, I do.
Thanks, Melissa.
What are friends for, right?
Yeah, I felt guilty. But Melissa helped me feel better. It's what she always did, and I loved her for it. She was my best friend. She always would be, even after we moved. It had been a full year. You would think that things eventually get better. Well, they don't. Death doesn't just get better. But you can at least try to forget. And a year was what I needed to be able to start to forget. I was thankful for that. We moved to Bellevue, Illinois. Melissa and I kept contact with each other. I started a new life in a new school, and with new acquaintances. Just like him. I guess I should have expected what happened next then.
You're just like me, aren't you? You don't hurt people. You help people. You just haven't seen the right way to do it yet. You can set so many of them free, Jane. Think of what you could do. What we could do. You just need a little bit of a push to get your courage. After all, what are friends for?
Oh, Jesus. Fucking nightmare again. It's probably because of the storm. I need a glass of water. Dad? Are you guys up? Mom? Listen, I'm not playing around. Don't try and scare me. Or anything. Dad? Mom!
Hi there! Oh, good. You're awake.
Oh God. Oh God, you found me. You're Jeff.
The one and only.
I couldn't believe it. He was there. Right there in the room with me. The room. Oh God, I remember the room. The walls were smeared with blood. Handprint after handprint in some kind of sick finger painting. I traced the trails of blood down the walls into the skirt of the bed I was sitting on. It was soaking wet. I remember when I moved, the mattress made sloppy, squishing noises. The sounds of the liquid splashing into pools on the floor below me caught my ears, telling me blood saturated the mattress. I remember the source of the blood. My parents lay next to me. Their heads were turned towards me. They looked like they were watching me, but never said a word. Never breathed. And then a smell filled my nostrils. It was gasoline.
The family's together, and I'm gonna do you a favor.
You're right, okay? I see you in my dreams every night, and you tell me the exact same thing. I should have gone with you. I should have done everything that you did. I belong with you. You were absolutely right. We're the same. The exact same. I should have been brave enough to have killed them myself, and you're right. This is the push I needed. I am like you, Jeff. I'm just like you, and together we can...
I'm sorry. Who are you again?
I'm important. I helped you. Your mom said that she would tell. We can save the world.
Go to sleep.
The pain was unbearable. I couldn't stop it. I writhed and twisted on the bed, trying to find a way to kick myself out of the fire, but it was no use. Jeff had me tied in place, and the fire wasn't burning through my restraints as quickly as it was burning through my skin. The flesh popped and sizzled. I could feel my entire body blistering and bursting in the flames. Do you have any idea what that feels like? To have every last nerve in your body shocking your brain with pain for what seems like hours? Suddenly the restraints snapped. Thank God it finally burned through. I launched myself off the bed and towards the door. What charred remains I had of skin cracked and oozed blood with every motion, but I had to leave. The doorknob was nearly molten by this point. I couldn't grip it, it was too hot. I felt the fire on my back and against the scalp that was left after my hair was burned away. I banged against the door with my hands as hard as I was able. I know I was trying to call for help, but I don't think I could from the smoke. I turned back even though I didn't want to face death. I didn't want to die. The blood on the walls flickered in the light of the fire. The liquid continued to drip and run to the floor. It wasn't possible this much could be coming from them. Minutes ago they were smears, and now it was like the wall was made of blood. I remember a voice from the fire.
I don't want to die. Please, help me. Yes, please, anything. I'll do anything. Blood? I can give you all of Jeff's blood. I'll spill every drop for what he did. No, I can't. Everyone I've cared about is gone. But she's... Yes, please, don't let me die.
I was destroyed. My body, my hair, my organs were burned away to ashes. And yet I walked away from the fire. My skin was perfect. My hair was beautiful. And I only had to pay such a small amount for it. I am Jane, Arkansas. I am not what they call me. I help people. I save people. I'm important. I did what I had to do. I make mistakes, but I'm good. I'm doing good things. Why can't anyone see that? I am my own person. I'm doing my own things. I was wrong about myself and him. I am nothing like him, and he owes me everything. I see him in my nightmares every night. I can think of nothing else. He's taken everything that matters to me. My family, my life, my best friend. I am not Jeff the killer.
Fucking shit. Jane? What the fuck are you doing in my room? It's like 3 in the morning. You scared the shit out of me. You're not supposed to be back till like the summer. How the fuck did you even get in? Holy shit, Jane. What happened to your skin? Are you burned?
No, I'm not. I'm beautiful.
How are you doing that? Your skin, it's white. Is that some light trick? You changed your eyes. How are your eyes black? Jane, what happened to you? Jane, is that a knife? Jane?
Melissa! I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Please. I need this. Please don't fight me. I love you, Melissa. Please. Just don't go to sleep.
I need you awake for this.
The cold, lifeless morgue with two of the most criminally insane humans to ever walk the earth. On the mortician's slab lay a beautiful, young, black-eyed woman. Dead. When the police found her body, she was lying on a table, hands and feet chained to it, with a message scrawled on the wall.
Go to sleep. I'll be waiting.
Cause of death: childbirth.
Where am I?
Coming back hurts like a bitch. Doesn't it?